Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. Heat starting center Bam Adebayo plans to sign a 3-year, $166 million extension with the team. Welcome to NBA Draft Day. Round 1 coverage, 7 Eastern ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern ABC and ESPN. This could mark the second straight year. The #1 overall pick is from France. ESPN's final mock draft has Zachary Risache going to Atlanta at 1. Last year, San Antonio, of course, took Victor Wembanyama first overall. Forward Alex Morgan, a cornerstone of the U.S. women's national team, one of the world's best players for over a decade, left off the roster for the Paris Olympics. The move actually not that much of a surprise, explains ESPN soccer reporter and host Sebastian Salazar.
Morgan did not have a great World Cup last year. When a striker doesn't have a great World Cup, questions will be asked. On top of that, she's been dealing with some injuries this year. And finally, Olympic rosters are only 18 deep, which means you can only take 16 field players. So a player like Alex Morgan, who really only plays one position, is at a huge disadvantage.
This is the first time since 2008 Morgan's not on the U.S. roster for a major tournament.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Thursday, the Knicks made the first big move of the offseason. I'll tell you which teams need to follow their lead if they don't want to be left behind. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Calandro, Villarreal. Whoops. There it is. And a Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's Hump Day.
It's Hump Day.
Yep.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Let's hump, everybody.
Hump Day.
Boy, I'm in a good mood.
It's Hump Day.
I'm in a great mood.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Woke up this morning, got me a cold shower.
Hump Day.
Got me a workout in.
It's Hump Day.
Got the blood flowing.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Got the oxygen flooding my brain.
Hump Day.
Tomorrow I'm going to the beach.
It's Hump Day.
And I get to get away from Alabama and Texas A&M fans for nearly 2 full weeks.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Man, am I jacked about that.
Hump Day. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Jim Schlossnagel introduced to Texas today.
Hump Day.
You'll hear from the Texas coach.
It's Hump Day.
Everybody leaving College Station.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Everybody.
Hump Day.
Not one.
It's hump day.
Not 2.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Not 3.
Hump day.
Not 4.
It's hump day.
Not 5.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Not 6.
Hump day.
7 Aggies already in the portal.
It's hump day.
7.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Half a day.
Hump day.
Their top 11 hitters from a year ago.
It's hump day.
Their top 11 hitters from 2 days ago.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
All gone.
Hump day.
Portal, draft, eligibility, all that stuff gone.
It's hump day.
And they're going to stink next year.
Mike. What day is it,
I
Mike?
don't care who they hire, they're going to stink.
Hump day.
All right, we got a lot to do. Let's get rolling here today. We do have the blue chip ratio. Our buddy, Bud Elliott, released the blue chip ratio. Pluckers trivia, Taylor Calandro later this hour. Let us begin.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right. Of course, is that Jim Schlossnagel has left Texas, head coach at Texas. As a matter of fact, he was introduced on here on Wednesday as the new coach. Schloss was introduced, and as I mentioned, 7 players have hit the portal, and I've had some conversations about which of the players LSU Texas today, and I guess trying to appease the people he pissed off, thanked Texas A&M.
Probably most importantly, I want to thank Texas A&M. This wasn't obviously a move from one school to another school. This is a great rivalry, and I couldn't be more thankful and humbled by the support that I got there, that we got there from some awesome players, staff, and administration. I had 2 athletic directors that were incredibly supportive, and I have nothing but positive memories and will always comment positively about Texas A&M. I am very confident, even though it was only 3 years, that we left that program in better shape than we found it.
You might have done that, but less than 24 hours later, the entire roster's gone. You've taken the whole coaching staff, and they're actually in shambles. The big thing about Schlossnagel, of course, is after the College World Series loss, he went off on the reporter who asked him about the Texas job, and Richard Zane is his name from Tex Ags. And I talked about it on Tuesday when we were here on the show, that before the news came that Schloss was leaving, there was a non-denial denial, that Schloss said nothing really, and actually criticizing the reporter was foolish. He asked the question he was supposed to ask. Schlossnagel teed off on him. There were reports that afterwards he went up and said, never talk to me again. Well, apparently Schlossnagel did reach out to Richard Zane to apologize.
I was asked a question after our game the other night. We're playing for the national championship. And as I said in my press conference when I took the A&M job, there would never be a time that I wasn't invested in that program. And there never was a time I wasn't invested. I gave when I say our staff, we gave everything we possibly could to win that last ball game. And when the game ended, I want to publicly apologize to Richard Zane from TexAgs. He's a young reporter. He asked the question. That was an obvious question. I wish I could have answered that better. But in the moment, 30 minutes after the last pitch, all I could think about was our players. And I really wasn't in the mood to talk about myself or the future. So I apologize for that to Richard.
He should have stopped after before the but. It should have just ended there. The but, now I wasn't in the mood, yada, yada. That's still no excuse. Good on you for apologizing. You should have stopped at the but. In any event, so we'll let you hear more from Jim Schlossnagel as we move throughout the show today. But ultimately, I'll give you this big picture overview of what's going on, because, and I want to be clear, we're not a Texas show, we're not a Texas A&M show, but what is happening there between those two schools as Texas is coming into the SEC intimately impacts LSU and this baseball program. So we are going to talk a lot about this because there's a lot of people here who care about the LSU baseball program, and all of this does have a a residual effect. It touches this program. So we're going to get into that. And I segmented off these first two segments because I want to go through the 7 players that, as of this moment, 3:08 Central Time on this Wednesday, June 26th, because I understand on demand, a lot of people, by the time you listen or watch this, there are probably going to be more people in the portal. But I want to go through the 7 guys that are in it, give you a thumbnail on each of them, and who I think LSU is in on and who they have a chance to get. So we'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But something that I think we need to keep in mind is a couple things. Number one, Texas and Jim Schlossnagel has brought the entire staff from A&M to Texas. So now A&M needs to hire an entirely new staff. One thing that last night, as I was making calls and all day today, that has become abundantly clear, number one, is Texas boosters are the ones who have been running that program for the past several weeks. Because as we talked about here for quite some time, this was going to be a fire-hire scenario with David Pierce. He was going to be fired, but he was only going to be publicly announced that he was fired once they had their guy and could go public with it. It just so happened that it had to be until after the last game of the season because Schlossnagel made it to the end. So Texas, I was told, their boosters are the ones who have kind of been recruiting in the meantime, saying, sit tight, we got our guy. So, they've known this. Kendall Rogers reported that these conversations started after the Georgia weekend and really culminated before the regional round, which falls in line with the timeline we told you about here about 3 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, whatever it was. And ultimately, since that time, it's been the Texas boosters reaching out to agents saying, sit tight, we'll have our guy, we're interested, don't commit anywhere, don't sign anywhere. So that's why you've had a lot of stuff in limbo with respect to the transfer portal. And I was told a number earlier today that Texas has 11 players coming to campus this weekend. 11. That makes sense. I mean, the season's over, there's a new staff, everyone's uncommitted or in the portal who's looking, they're bringing them all in and trying to build a roster for next year. But I was told today Texas is going to have as many as 11 players on campus this weekend, and their boosters have their checkbooks ready and are ready to spend millions of dollars this weekend to land commitments from players in the transfer portal to build out this Texas roster. Now, the flip side of that is, where does that leave Texas A&M? As I just mentioned, you've got 7 players in the portal. That doesn't include guys that are going to the draft and guys that are out of eligibility. So they need to go hire a new coach and then subsequently need to build a roster after that as well. And they got to move quickly because, the portal window closes on Tuesday, and they're going to have to rebuild a roster with whoever the new coach is. And whoever the new coach is likely going to bring some players from wherever he currently is. If you want a few names, I'll tell you a few that I heard earlier. I want to be very clear. I'm not saying one of these guys is going to be the coach. I'm just saying these are some of the early names I've heard mentioned. And it certainly seems as though A&M got caught flat-footed here. Like, they were not anticipating this, which is mind-boggling because it was the worst-kept secret in college baseball. But a few of the names I've heard in the last 24 hours, Nick Mingione from Kentucky is one of them. Tadlock from Texas Tech is another who had built that program to a College World Series level, but in the NIL world, they don't have the resources, so Texas Tech has fallen back. So the thought is, if you gave him NIL resources at a place like A&M, he could elevate the program again. And then another was Skip Johnson from Oklahoma, who we've talked about. Pitching guru, obviously Oklahoma coming into the SEC, maybe from A&M's perspective, a little bit of a coup if you're able to take Oklahoma's coach here as they're coming into the league. Just something worth keeping an eye on. Those are 3 names I've heard. I know everyone's going to ask about Jay Johnson. I don't see that happening, and I'll explain a little bit more on Jay's part when we come back. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Bud Light, our show open every day. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. I want to remind you again, if you haven't done so yet, you're running out of time. Get to the Mockler Beverage social media pages. Find the Zach Bryan post. There's a QR code. If you want to win tickets to see Zach Bryan in the Superdome at the end of July, here's your opportunity to go enter to win a pair of tickets to see Zach Bryan in New Orleans, courtesy of Mockler Beverage, Anheuser-Busch, and our friends at Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. I'll be on the beach on Friday, and I'll be really looking forward to cracking open a few ice-cold Bud Lights, kicking my feet in the sand, just maybe taking a nap on the beach. Be great. Whatever you do in the summer, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, quick break, y'all. We'll come back. A&M has 7 players in the transfer portal. I'll give you a thumbnail on each, who LSU might be targeting, and for those that have asked about Jay Johnson and possibly being targeted by Texas A&M, I'll give you some thoughts on that as well when we continue on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. If you are a business owner, if you're an HR manager, a VP, an ops manager, if you're the person in charge of hiring at your job, at your place of business, and you're having trouble finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. And I want to remind you, Glow Resources, they're exceptional when it comes to skilled blue-collar workers and also white-collar divisions. Remember, Glow Resources has a full professional placement division. So we're talking about office administrators, executive-level assistants, assistant controllers, plant managers, scheduling assistants, basically any type of office job. Accounting, HR, marketing, managerial, supervisor roles. If you're having trouble finding those people and sometimes hard to fill roles, Glow Resources specialize. They recruit nationwide. For example, they had a Baton Rouge company that was looking for an engineer. They found the employee in Florida to work the job in California. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online today. glowresources.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
When Chris and I had discussions about this, I was very clear that this had to be a team effort because I've been on some awesome coaching staff, some winning coaching staff, some championship coaching staffs, but I've never been around a group of guys who are more tied together, synergy, knowledge of the game, work ethic than this staff that we had at A&M has been.
Jim Schlossnagel introduced as the new head coach over at Texas, of course. So the staff following Jim Schlossnagel, they're from College Station to Austin, and among them, of course, is former LSU Tiger Nolan Cain, who now has his opportunity to join the squad. And as I'm told, Nolan and the rest of that staff are going to be compensated very handsomely. I was told as much as a tripling of the salary he was making at Texas A&M. So just for some context here, the deal that Jim Schlossnagel got is a 10-year, $30 million deal, fully guaranteed, so $3 million per. That completely resets the market from a coach standpoint. Now we'll see what A&M pays, and also for assistants as well. So congrats to Nolan, who is going to make it. He's going to make a lot of money there at Austin to be an assistant. But the real interesting part of this is, I look at the A&M job, which is now available, and there's just no doubt that Texas A&M could have spent exactly what Texas did for Jim Schlossnagel. It just wasn't an option. Schlossnagel was going. He did not want to be at Texas A&M, clearly. And now it's going to be interesting to see what Texas A&M is willing to pay, because they have as deep, if not deeper, pockets than Texas. So are they willing to go get into this spending frenzy, and what the next hours, days, weeks are going to look like is going to be fascinating. I have gotten the question a good bit about Jay Johnson. Could Texas A&M target Jay Johnson? It was my first question as well. And I made some calls last night to try to garner the best I can, whatever interest that might be. And I told you, and I understand Jay has plausible deniability. I've said this over, but Texas did reach out to gauge interest. And maybe after a millisecond of thinking about it, Jay decided to stay in Baton Rouge. Again, he's got plausible deniability. He could say he didn't have a conversation. He could be right, because there's representatives, there's third parties, there's lots of ways that those conversations happen. If Texas A&M reaches out and were to offer Jay Johnson the same deal that Jim Schlossnagel just got, a 10-year, $30 million contract, you'd be stupid not to consider it. I don't know that he will. I was told in no uncertain terms that Jay Johnson's not going anywhere and is continuing to build this roster here at LSU, which I absolutely believe. I completely believe that Jay Johnson has no intention of leaving. What happens when somebody comes and lays the Godfather offer at your feet? You have to consider it. So I'm going to leave that incomplete. Unless and until A&M reaches out to inquire and has some type of offer, we'll see. But I'll tell you this much. Jim Schlossnagel, who ain't never won nothing. He got TCU to the College World Series in last year, or this season here, got A&M to the championship series. But Schlossnagel's never won a title, and he just got a $30 million contract. I'm told Tony Vitello, his extension at Tennessee is effectively done, and he's going to be making north of $2 million a year. Jay Johnson signed a deal after the national championship, an extension that was a 7-year, $12.55 million deal, which will pay him an average of $1.7, $1.8 a year. Now, all of a sudden, Vitello's over 2 and Schlossnagel's at 3. Jay Johnson could look around and say, I'm underpaid. And he's right, because Texas just reset the market completely. So where does that fall? I don't know. It's just something worth filing away and seeing as it goes along. I believe Jay Johnson is firm that he's going to be at LSU. But as we've seen, things aren't always what they seem until it's completely done. And with the amount of money that these programs are throwing around, I wouldn't say anything is a certainty. But I do believe Jay Johnson is going to remain the LSU coach. But until I see the Aggies introduce another head coach, I'm probably not going to exhale, because I want Jay Johnson here for a long time, for as long as he wants to be here. Now, for Jay, the issue now becomes attacking the portal. Like this is the biggest trickle-down effect of A&M losing Schlossnagel to Texas and now looking, is that you've had this resurgence of the portal, which wasn't very talent deep at this point. Well, now you've got 7 Texas A&M players in the portal. Texas players, no doubt, are going to hit the portal. Whoever A&M hires, that coach will have players from that team enter the portal. So all of a sudden now, you've got this influx of talent and the recycling of the portal, which is going to be vastly interesting. Let's run through the 7 that as of right now are in the portal. I'll give you a thumbnail on each, and I'll tell you my thoughts on who LSU's targeting. The best player that's hit the portal today is Jace Laviolette. He's an outfielder. He hit .305 with 29 bombs this year. Jace Laviolette is projected for next year to be a first-round draft pick, a top of round 1 draft pick after his draft-eligible junior season next year. He is right now right there with Gavin Killeen as the best player in the transfer portal. There's no doubt. LSU needs infielders. We know that. But Jace Laviolette is better than any outfielder any team has. Period. So if you can add this guy, you do. He did grow up in South Texas. He has family in Acadiana. He was an LSU commit, and then Nolan Cain flipped him to Texas A&M. So my understanding is that Jace Laviolette loves Michael Early, who's the hitting coach from A&M, who went with Schlossnagel to Texas. And it's a deal where you better believe Texas is going to break the bank. It's unfortunate because Laviolette just a day ago after this news was tweeting about how much he loved Texas A&M and that was the best place ever. And then hours later, he's in the transfer portal, and I can't say that I blame him because he's going to get broke off wherever he goes. My guess is that Laviolette will follow Schlossnagel to Texas. The next name I'm going to mention is one that I think is going to end up, let me rephrase that, has, I would say, the odds-on favorite to land Caden Kent is LSU. Caden Kent, as we know, who played his freshman season at AM at third base, this past season was sort of a part-time starter. He really only became a starter effectively in the postseason when Braden Montgomery suffered the injury in the outfield. They shuffled things around a little bit. They moved their second baseman to center field. Kent went into the game at second, where Grahovac played third this year, and he was the freshman of the year. More on him in a second. He started 21 games as a freshman, and this year he started 24 games, so most of that was at the end of the season at second base. And he was awesome. He had 327 this year in Omaha. Caden Kent at 416. This is Jeff Kent's son. So a couple of things. He's from Lake Travis, which is the Austin area. But as I understand it, Caden Kent is not a fan of Jim Schlossnagel's. Obviously, he benched him this year and then left A&M high and dry. So I don't think Caden Kent is going to Austin. He will go somewhere else, and I think LSU is going to be his best option. And remember, Jeff Kent made 9 figures playing baseball. Money isn't exactly going to be the driving force for Caden Kent. It's going to be opportunity. And LSU has a plug-and-play opportunity at third base with Tommy White going. So I think Caden Kent is probably a heavy, heavy lean to LSU. And I think there's a really good chance Caden Kent is actually visiting LSU soon, like this weekend. So expect that to move pretty quickly. Gavin Grahovac was the SEC Freshman of the Year, talking about third baseman. Grahovac is the one that ultimately took the job from Caden Kent at third base. Grahovac was the SEC Freshman of the Year, started 67 games, hit .298 with 23 bombs. He's a player, but you probably have no shot at Gavin Grahovac. He's very likely going to follow Jim Schlossnagel to Texas and get a big, giant bag, and I wouldn't blame him for taking it. The other player that I think is really interesting for LSU is when we look at the need for LSU, you need infielders and you need catching depth. I've told you about Bear Collins, who's out at St. Mary's in California, who's someone LSU has been in contact with, and I think LSU would land if they wanted him. But they're kind of in a holding pattern because now you've got another catcher in the portal that could be very interesting for LSU. So Max Coffer was really just a depth piece. He, in 2023, last year as a freshman, he played in 46 games and hit 183. He got replaced this year. Lost his job, played in just 14 games with 7 starts, hit .250, but again, limited opportunity. That could be a depth piece at catcher where you have Blaze Priester, you've got Cade Arambidi. This could be the guy that comes in and platoons at catcher with Priester while you bring Arambidi along. So Max Coffer is another one that I would say LSU's got a good shot because of the urgency they have to add another catcher. So file that one away. The other 3 players that I would tell you right now, the other 3 players that are in the portal as of right now are Jack Bell, who's an infielder, a backup, played in 19 games with 3 starts, hit .250. I don't think LSU's going to have interest there. Caden Sorrell would be a player of interest for LSU, but Caden Sorrell is a guy who is probably going to have a ton of interest elsewhere. He's highly touted, and he's probably a guy that's ultimately going to follow Jim Schlossnagel to Austin. So Sorrell this year hit and ultimately finished the season at .275 with 11 homers and was really good in the College World Series as well. But again, expect Caden Sorrell to follow Jim Schlossnagel to Texas, as I understand. He's probably one of those guys that'll be on the visit this weekend. And the last guy that's entered the portal as of right now is Hayden Schott. Hayden Schott was an outfielder and a DH. He primarily DH'd in the College World Series. Schott hit .335 this season. He started 68 times, 8 homers. He was a transfer into A&M this season as a graduate. He has 1 season remaining of eligibility. I would assume LSU would kick the tires here, but LSU I don't think is really looking for another DH player here on this roster. So I don't know that necessarily that's the one that would make the most sense for LSU to land on there with Schott. Or it wouldn't make the most sense for Schott, considering LSU's already recruited out of the portal a couple of big bats. So those are the 7 players from A&M that are already in the portal. Tigers need third base, catcher, and the wild card, I will tell you, is shortstop. So the best player in the portal at this point is a guy we've talked about a good bit. His name is Gavin Killeen. He's the shortstop from Louisville. He has visited Vanderbilt, Tennessee, LSU, and he was waiting for the College World Series to end to visit Texas A&M. Well, now with Jim Schlossnagel gone, is Killeen still interested in A&M? Does he make a visit to Texas while they're stroking big checks? Maybe. If LSU can land Gavin Killeen, awesome. If he goes somewhere else, you're kind of looking at Braswell, right? And hoping he comes back. If not, is there a domino effect at Texas or other schools where somebody shortstop gets in the portal and can give you some depth and another option on the infield? That's the other one worth keeping in mind. There's a lot of players LSU are still kicking the tires on. I mentioned Bear Collins from St. Mary's. Tennessee left-handed pitcher Matthew Dallas is another one worth watching. He's from the Memphis area. He's a 6'5" lefty, just finished up his freshman season, didn't pitch a ton this year, but is a mid-90s guy from the left side. I'm told it's LSU and Mississippi State. So we'll see how all these dominoes fall, but just trust that LSU's got the 2 best recruiters in college baseball are Jay Johnson and Tony Vitello. LSU's got one of them. They got a ton to sell. What they can't do is stroke checks like Texas or Texas A&M, but everything else LSU can offer, and I think this is going to be pretty fruitful. But the 2 names I would keep an eye on mostly for LSU out of A&M are Caden Kent and Max Coffer, the infielder and the catcher, who I think are positions of need and players that would fit an immediate urgent need for LSU as well. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. If you have roof issues, give us a shout. As a matter of fact, just on the show text line, had a gentleman named, I believe it was Richard. His name was Richard, yeah. Richard was just texting me a bit ago on the text line and asking about the fortified roofing program, something I've told you all about. I would highly recommend anybody that's going to replace their roof, you inquire about a fortified roof. Installing a fortified roof can get you up to a 52% discount on your homeowner's insurance, depending on who your provider is. And also the state of Louisiana just added an additional $4.5 million of funding to the fortified roof program. So effectively, qualified homeowners can get a $10,000 grant to fortify their roof. So if you want to learn more, you can go to our website, go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, hit the Fortify tab. There's a green Fortify tab right there on the homepage. Just click on the Fortify tab. It'll give you all the info about a fortified roof. And if you want, we can hold your hand through the entire process of applying for that fortified roof through the LDI and getting everything done for you. So give us a shout at 364-1007, 364-1007, or go to parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com. Okay, quick break. We'll go around the SEC. We'll do Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro coming up. We've got a ton to do. Got some college football for you as well. Our guy Bud Elliott put out the blue chip ratio today at 24/7 Sports. Where does LSU fall? How many teams actually have a shot of winning the college football national championship? We'll get to that shortly. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James, and I would really encourage you to do this right now. Was texting with Darren over the weekend, and he shot me this text. The new Darren James app, the mobile app, is live. So in your app store, Android, wherever it may be, go search for the Darren James app. I always tell you about the website, agent225.com, agent225.com, agent225.com. Most user-friendly website in real estate. Well, now you got the Darren James app at the touch of a button there on your finger. You can search homes, preferred vendors if you need contractors. You can learn more about the market. You can leave a review. How to hire a real estate agent, why, some great information there on the app. Would highly, highly, highly recommend. You can also chat with Darren on the app. There's a little text button there in the bottom center. So Download the Darren James app right now in your app store, or just log on to agent225.com, agent225.com. If you're selling your home, you need the best. You need Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Yeah, trivia night over at Plucker's. Get on by, eat some wings, drink some beer, test your knowledge, win some Plucker's gift cards. 2 locations. Nicholson, just south of campus, Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Hey, the NCAA, you might have seen this, has okayed a rule which eases the limit on countable football coaches. So I'll break this down as simply as I possibly can. So college football teams can have 11 coaches, the head coach and 10 assistants. Those are the only coaches allowed to recruit off campus and coach on the field. So you can have analysts, remember, but analysts are only allowed to sort of coach the coaches in the classroom, etc. Analysts aren't allowed, unless they have a special exemption, to coach on the field. So you can have all these staff members, but they couldn't coach on the field. Now, what you had always was analysts coaching on the field anyway at practice, because who's going to police it? The NCAA doesn't have enough enforcement to send, minions to every college football practice to see, is there an analyst working on that? Who's the guy in the bucket hat with the Ray-Bans on over there? Is that an analyst or is that a coach? Nobody can police it. So it was happening rampantly. And then how do you decide who to pop? So nobody's enforcing it. Well, the NCAA finally said, hey, look, all those guys that can work on the field, which makes a lot of sense. Quote, instead of micromanaging and some people trying to abuse it, let's just allow it. There's a point of diminishing returns. You can't have 100 coaches out there, end quote. That's the point. So what if you have an analyst that's going to go help run dummy drills with the defensive line? Yes, let them out onto the field if it makes things more efficient instead of trying to police it. Like, what's the point in having a police officer set up at a stop sign just trying to get the 5 cars that pass by and roll through a stop sign? Like, are you actually improving the safety of traffic in the city? No, you're not. Not widespread or scale. All you're doing is popping those people when everybody does it all the time, all day. It's something that's impossible to enforce. So the NCAA doesn't have the manpower to police this. So stop calling it cheating for something so trivial. The other thing they did was they vetoed or they removed cannabis from the banned drug class for championship and postseason participation in football. So essentially, the NCAA no longer is going to test for weed. Thank God. Like, weed is legal in so many places. I'm not a pothead. I don't smoke weed. If you do, your choice. I drink whiskey and beer a lot, and tequila. I like alcohol. Weed isn't really my drug of choice. So do you, especially where it's legal. Be responsible, just like you'd have to be responsible with anything that you put in your body. But you're an adult. You have some free will and choice and do what you want to do. It's patently absurd that Tyrann Mathieu got kicked out of school because of failed drug tests when the NCAA wasn't even testing and there was no uniform policy. Like, you remember Tim Williams, the kid from U-High who went to Alabama? Tim Williams, LSU didn't take Tim Williams' commitment because they were afraid he would never be able to pass drug tests. Couldn't get him in school, keep him in school. So he went to Alabama where he never failed a drug test. All of a sudden he pops up at the combine, boom! He drops like a 3rd, 4th round pick because the guy smoked weed all the time. So, there was a drug policy in the NFL, so they dropped him down their boards naturally. Yes, it's stupid. Get rid of that. I mean, Christian Fulton missed 2 years because he had gotten high and then tried to use someone else's pee in a test with an NCAA investigator. Like, what? Why did that kid miss 2 years because he got high? Thankfully, common sense prevails for once at the NCAA. I mean, it's almost like it's like a president at the end of his term who just starts vetoing everybody, or just starts what do you call it whenever they give a
pardoning?
Pardoning, thank you. When my brain just didn't work. When they start just pardoning everybody. You get a pardon, you get a pardon. I better do it before my term's up. It's like the NCAA knows their relevance is just eroding. It's, let's just get rid of all these rules that are so stupid anyway that everybody hates. About time. Okay, it's After Further Review, brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online. At southpointvw.com, y'all, the trade-in and trade-up event is still going on. I've been telling you this. If you've been thinking about a new vehicle, South Point Volkswagen wants your trade-in. They sell so many vehicles that their pre-owned inventory is low right now, so they are giving you top dollar for your trade-in. You want to get into a brand new Volkswagen? Never been a better time, especially as we get near the end of the month. The trade-in and trade-up event is going on right now. Trade in your used vehicle for a brand new Volkswagen from South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, Taylor Calandro in about 7 minutes from right now. Right now, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Wes Johnson has earned a contract extension through 2030. Georgia, of course, earned the number 7 seed in the NCAA tournament, advanced to the Supers for the first time since 2008. Charlie Condon won the Golden Spikes Award. Georgia has not been to the College World Series since 2008. Wes Johnson trying to get him there.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas basketball has added another guard to the roster for the upcoming 2024-2025 season. Melo Sanchez officially committed to the Razorbacks. 6'4", 185. He's a guard. Played the last couple of seasons at Hawaii Pacific, which is in Division II. Averaged nearly 15 points a game. Arkansas has 12 confirmed players on the roster for next year.
The Florida Gators.
Florida's got a commitment from receiver Joshua Moore. He's a 3-star. Had also visited Florida State. 6'4", 205. Gators now have 7 commits for 2025. Moore is the number 47 receiver in the country, the number 196 overall player.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
3-star linebacker Tayshawn Alston has committed to South Carolina. 6'3", 234. Also visited Rutgers, North Carolina, and Virginia Tech. He's a 3-star, the 10th best player in North Carolina, the 35th best edge in the country. Alston is South Carolina's 16th commitment.
The Auburn Tigers.
And after committing to Auburn back in April, 4-star offensive lineman Carday Smith has decommitted from Hugh Freeze and the Tigers. A 6'5", 293, the number 15 prospect in Alabama, the number 26 offensive tackle in the country. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Pluckers. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll wrap up hour number 1 with a little Bourbon Dictionary. Taylor Calandro will be here. So get your booze questions in. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro is next on AFR.
AFR.
Weekend is almost here. We've reached hump day as we steamroll toward this weekend. Make plans to get on by Clegg's Nursery. If you're going to be in your garden this weekend, you want to beautify that lawn, that garden, maybe with all the hot weather, not a ton of rain, maybe you got some dead spots in your lawn. Our friends over at Clegg's Nursery can help. Whatever you need to bring that lawn to life. You want to add a pop of beautiful color. Full greenhouses with bedding plants and flowers. Just a gorgeous place and a great time to get on by Clegg's Nursery. And they got just about everything that you could possibly imagine over at Clegg's Nursery. Of course, they got gardening hats and tools and utensils and everything that you would need. They got Johnny Naylor seeds and, of course, full greenhouses of beautiful flowers. How about these sunflowers that are over there at the Segan Lane location? Get on by their Facebook page. I always encourage you to do that. If you're a green thumb, you know about Clegg's. You probably already followed their Facebook page, but I would highly recommend, because whenever they get new shipments, whenever they get new items, I recommend you get on by, because they always post them there on their Facebook page. Buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, trying to connect here with Taylor Calandro, do a little Bourbon Dictionary, get your questions in. You can always email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Greg Dawson said, when is the draft? The MLB draft actually coincides this year with the All-Star game. So it's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday will be the draft. He's good. He just texted me. All right. So that would be Sunday the 15th or 14th, Sunday the 14th, right? Yeah. Sunday the 14th will be the first round. They split up into 3 days this year. So it's the 14th, 15th, 16th coinciding with the All-Star game. And days 2 and 3 move really quickly through the draft to get through the whole thing. But it overlaps with the All-Star game, which incidentally is when we will be at SEC Football Media Days. So we'll have plenty to talk about during those weeks and the weeks following. Okay, Taylor's here. Hit it.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Taylor's here. Get your booze questions in. How are you, dude?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I am 2 hours and 11 minutes away from being gone until July the 8th. So, yeah.
Nice. Where you going, man?
Well, of course you're going to 30A. Take that, Terrio, you nerd. How about that?
You nerd. I'm going at the end of July.
You going to 30A as well?
Yeah, Panama City, right at the end of 30A.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You got to booze it up, man.
I actually, are you, Panama City, is that like the where Club La Vila is? That Panama?
I have no idea. It's we go to a house. It's right at the end of 30A by like Seaside and Alice Beach and all that stuff. I have no idea.
All right.
I just go to the house.
Yeah, I got you. I think I actually think Club La Vila closed down. I think I mentioned that once before, and people flooded me like, "Yeah, man, it closed. It's really sad." All right, let's get going here. We got some. You got your booze questions. Get in. You can email us, tweet us, or text us. I love this one, which said Ryan Smith said, Taylor, during a hot holiday like the 4th of July, how can I use bourbon with a drink that is refreshing?
So in the summer, I kind of hang up the whiskey, but if I do drink whiskey in the summer, I talk about this every summer. The only way I generally drink it is I drink Jameson and ginger on the rocks. Jameson and ginger ale, I think it's like one of the most refreshing whiskey drinks out there. It sounds weird, but I learned that when I was in Ireland. That's what the people drink over there in the summer when it's hot, and I started drinking it, and that's all I drink now in the summer when I drink whiskey. So
you have mentioned that to me many times before, and I've literally never bothered to try it. Maybe because I don't drink Irish whiskey.
Tried it, and you always like turn your nose up every time I say it. You have to try it.
Well, I know it's fine. I don't drink. I don't have Irish whiskey at my house. So I don't drink Irish whiskey. I have like one bottle of the Fighting 69th, which I think we talked about that story. Really cool story with with an army tie and back to the Civil War. It's a great story, but I just don't love Irish whiskey, so I don't keep a lot of it around. That's all.
Yeah, and I mean you could probably use any whiskey with ginger ale, but the reason I think, well, I learned it in Ireland, and also, I mean, Irish is lighter whiskey generally, so that's why I like it.
Josh Rhodes had asked Taylor, do you do any bourbon podcasts?
No, I do not. Actually, me and Matt were going to do a podcast, and it turned into the radio. When
that's what. Yeah, that's what this is.
So,
Bourbon Dictionary was the podcast, the bourbon podcast that Taylor and I were doing, and we said, "Hey, let's just turn." It was during COVID. We're like, everybody was just drinking like every day. Booze sales. I mean, you can confirm this, right? Booze sales during COVID went way up.
Yeah, it was wild.
So
wild.
So we turned it into like, hey, just come on the radio and it worked. I mean, people ask us questions every week, and they ask Taylor questions, and they ask Booze, and they learn more. And so, yeah, I mean, that's how this all started. Just a little longer form version of this.
Every now and then I'll go on people's things, but it's not very often.
Greg Lehman said, I asked Taylor, what's your cocktail destination that you want to visit?
Is it Jack? Like, what, he's talking about like a bar or something, I'm assuming?
I don't know. He just said, what's your cocktail destination you want to visit?
Yeah, is it Jack Rose up in D.C.? I think it's Jack Rose. super cool bar that I've heard millions of people talk about.
Jack
that's
Rose is the
definitely-
bar in New Orleans, the restaurant in New Orleans.
No, but there's.
Yes.
I can't remember the place. I mean, no, I know what you're talking
Okay.
about, but yeah, you're talking about the Pontchartrain Hotel.
Yes, the Pontchartrain.
There's another bar up in D.C. I can't remember the name. It's something along those lines, though.
Okay. I got to ask you this. So a friend of mine, Mark, was just in Wisconsin, and apparently, I'm kind of an old-fashioned nerd, and apparently they make their old-fashions there with brandy. And so he got me a bottle of Drink Wisconsin-bly. I guess it's a Wisconsin brandy that they use to make their old-fashions. Have you ever made an old-fashioned with brandy? Do you know anything about this at all?
What is the deal with? I'm going to answer your question with a question. What is the deal with like upper Midwestern people and weird habits of things?
I don't know.
It's just like they have what is the one in Chicago? You asked me about it. Malort.
Malort. That's awful.
It's just like they have all these weird. I don't know. I'm not. It just seems like there's always these weird things. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Have you ever had an old-fashioned with brandy?
I have not. I've had an old-fashioned with rum, and I've had an old-fashioned with tequila, but I've never had one with brandy.
So I'm trying. So Mark, shout out Mark Lacey. He brought me back a bottle, and it's called Drink Wisconsin-bly is the name of the brandy, and so I'm going to try it tonight in an old-fashioned. So that's apparently how they've been doing that since like the late 1800s up there. So I figured,
So they drink Spotted Cow beer. They drink Wisconsin-bly stuff. And
when in Rome,
Malort.
and you get the little cheese curds as well. Taylor Calandro from Calandro's, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. Thanks, man. Always appreciate it.
See you, Matt.
Later, dude. All right, hour number 2 coming up on AFR. Stick around. Don't you move.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by First South Farm Credit. You know where to start. Your first call, your first visit, your first option when it comes to buying land in Louisiana is First South Farm Credit. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be land in Louisiana because First South Farm Credit can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. And they've got more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So if you're right here in the Southeast, there's First South Farm Credit locations all near you. But remember, like, for example, let's say a lot of our audience in New Orleans, of course. You're living in New Orleans, maybe you're starting to build a family, grow a family. You want to move to the North Shore like a lot of people do. You want to buy the 100 acres in Tangipahoa. You can. And First South Farm Credit can help because they have an office in Amite. So you can walk in there. You can do business with someone who talks like you, lives where you live, and help you buy land wherever you want to buy land in the contiguous 48. It's First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Celtics GM Brad Stevens told the Ryan Russillo podcast center Kristaps Porzingis likely will miss the very start of the season after leg surgery this summer. This is a big night for the NBA. First night of the draft. Atlanta's got the top overall pick, Washington 2, Houston 3. San Antonio's tied with Portland for most picks with 4 apiece. Spurs the only team with 2 picks in the top 10 at 4 and 8. ESPN college basketball analyst Fran Fraschilla.
They desperately need help in the backcourt. They need scoring and shooting around Big Victor. There's even some talk that they'd be willing to take if Klingon is there, or even if Sarr drops from 2, the other French kid, that they may be willing to go Twin Towers. Historically, it's been done before down there with Robinson and Duncan.
Fran Fraschilla on Carlin versus Joe. Draft coverage round 1, 7 Eastern ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern ABC and ESPN. Heat center Bam Adebayo intends to sign a 3-year, $166 million extension with the team. The NFL informed its teams it will not be holding a supplemental draft this year.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Thursday, the Knicks made the first big move of the offseason. I'll tell you which teams need to follow their lead if they don't want to be left behind. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man.
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Calandro Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We will talk 1 hour from right now about some anonymous coaches who spoke to Lindy's magazine about Blake Baker and about the LSU offense. That's 1 hour from right now. We talked a lot in that first hour about just the giant news of the day with Jim Schlossnagel leaving A&M for Texas, the 7 A&M players already hitting the transfer portal, which players LSU might be targeting. So if you missed any of that, you can catch it on demand. Of course, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org. Every year around this time, one of the most anticipated metrics that I always look forward to, and many of you do as well, is the blue chip ratio. So our friend Bud Elliott, guy who we've met at SEC Football Media Days and has become a friend and a good friend of ours here on the show as well, who comes on from time to time. Bud Elliott started this back in 2013. And it's referenced everywhere. People just reference the blue chip ratio. And if you're not familiar, what the blue chip ratio does is looks at a 4-year average of your recruiting and determines if your roster has more than 50% 4 and 5 stars, you have a chance to win the national championship. It's that simple. And it's never been wrong since they started using it back in 2013. Effectively, again, look at your roster and determine is more than half of your roster 4 and 5 stars. Because every national champion in that period has matched the blue chip ratio criteria. It's not to say if you have that number, you're going to win it. It's just to say that no team without that criteria has won a national championship in that period. So it is absolutely held out, and they've even gone back as far as you could have your recruiting models and things like that to see if it would actually work out. So back in 2011, for example, Bama won the title in 2011 with a 71% blue chip ratio. Even at the lowest, the closest was in 2013, Florida State was at 53%, and in 2016, Clemson was at 52%. So you're talking about this being a metric that has not failed. It's by the way not required to make the playoff. It's just that we saw TCU make the playoff, make it all the way to the championship game. But again, no team outside of the blue chip ratio has won the national championship since this metric has been in place. So let's get to the numbers. I will tell you, LSU is within the blue chip ratio metric. LSU's blue chip ratio is 70%, 70. So let's run through it. Ohio State is 1 at 90%. Again, remember, this is not including transfers. I'll get to that in a second. Ohio State at 90%. Alabama, 88%, Georgia, Texas A&M, Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas, LSU, Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida, Miami, Penn State, Southern Cal, Michigan, and Auburn. Your national champion, according to the blue chip ratio, will be one of those 16 teams. Now, it is worth mentioning as well that as the transfer portal has been more in vogue, they have submitted another blue chip ratio that includes transfers. And much of it is the same. LSU actually bumped up a few spots. It's Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Texas, LSU, Clemson, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, A&M, Florida, Penn State, Miami, Southern Cal, Michigan, Florida State. So a lot of the same schools that you'd see there. Notice one, and I have my takeaways. There is one very glaring omission. And I'll run through the names again just really quickly and tell me as I run through it if you don't think the name. Like think, okay, who are teams we talk about this year as national championship contenders, right? Playoff championship contenders. Think about who in your mind is there and who's not on this list. Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, A&M, Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas, LSU, Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida, Miami, Penn State, Southern Cal, Michigan, Auburn. Who did I leave off? Those little runts in Oxford. Tell you what, and even whenever I read off the names of the blue chip ratio teams with transfers, Ole Miss still ain't there. So, according to the blue chip ratio, Ole Miss has no chance of winning a national championship. I don't care what their betting odds say in Vegas. You look at history and the blue chip ratio, they don't qualify. So it was fascinating to see no Ole Miss, even with the transfer portal there. I will be very interested to see as time passes how the blue chip ratio might evolve or change, because think of it this way. Lance Hurd's a great example. Lance Hurd was a 5-star who signed with LSU. He ain't on the roster anymore. That would conceivably bump you down. It would, and also in theory, bump Tennessee up, adding a 5-star right there. When you look at the numbers, though, the portal movers, the biggest downward movers because of the portal, one of them makes a lot of sense, A&M. You lose Jimbo Fisher, had a bunch of transfers. They went from 79% from the high school recruiting to, with the portal transfers, 63%. I mean, A&M got gutted, is a way to say it. Oklahoma went from 73% to 63% when you include transfers. Obviously, losing Dylan Gabriel is a big deal. Bama went from 88% to 82%. I'm not going to do a Bama is burning thing right now, but just understand the thing I've told you all along, their roster got worse. It got worse. Again, I'm not saying they're not bad. They're still at 82%. It's a net loss minus 6 percentage points from 88% blue chip to 82% with the portal. Like, you brought in guys that weren't as good as the ones you lost, period. There's no other way around it. LSU actually improved with the portal. The other things I'll tell you that really struck me, aside from Ole Miss not being there, the teams just on the outside who could challenge the blue chip ratio who could bust this metric. The two worth mentioning are Florida State. Florida State's blue chip ratio is at 49%. So they missed about 1 percentage point. Like, Florida State is right there. And then Tennessee's at 46%. So if Nico, their quarterback, pops, has an awesome season, gets you into the playoff, Tennessee could be there. There are no teams from the Big 12, which I thought fascinating as well. You lose Texas and Oklahoma, even bringing in Utah and in Arizona and some of those other teams. None of them meet the blue chip ratio criteria. But for me, I think the biggest question, the two fundamental changes in college football that will affect something like the blue chip ratio. Number one is obviously the transfer portal. How do you keep a 4-year average of recruiting classes and have it hold merit when you lose so many of those players year over year? I mean, LSU lost, I believe the number is 9 players from the 2024 signing class, or the 23 signing class, those that just finished their freshman season. 9 players are already gone after 1 year. So when you lose that many, how do you keep that, the integrity of a rolling average? The other thing is the expanded playoff. Like, you can't win the playoff if you don't get in. So there are really good teams that maybe got better as the season went along but lost early, so it cost them a shot at getting in the playoff. But now, in a 12-team format where, let's say you lose early, you go 10-2, but you get hot and get a good draw and you go and you win it, that could be different. The example I give all the time is 2001 LSU. And I know that's been, nearly a quarter century ago, but that team lost 3 games in conference, but by the end of the year, they were awesome. Rohan Davey, Josh Reed, Michael Clayton, LeBrandon Toefield, they were dynamite, man. They were such a good team. The defense had found its stride. They hung 50-49 on Illinois in the Sugar Bowl, who was the Big Ten champion. Nobody wanted to play that team. I'm not saying they would have beaten 2001 Miami in the championship game, but they won 31-20 against number 2 Tennessee in the SEC championship game with a backup quarterback. Nobody wanted to play that team, but they were a 3-loss team, so they had no shot. In a 12-team playoff, they would have won the SEC and gotten into the playoff with an auto bid, and nobody would have wanted any piece of that. You know what I mean? That's the variable that changes now with an expanded format and with auto bids for the conference champions. So just something worth filing away and how all of this could change and evolve. But the blue chip ratio is out. LSU's on the list, as you'd expect. Ole Miss isn't. And yes, Alabama's roster did, in fact, get worse. All right. It's After Further Review. Thanks for being here with us. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do indoor shutters as well. Y'all, I'm looking right now, man, when you're talking about 94 degrees in Baton Rouge with a heat index over 100, you better believe your air conditioning's working overtime to cool your home. That's why you need energy-efficient windows. Don't let that cool air get out of your home, and don't let the hot air in. Make your home more energy efficient, lower your energy bills. In time, these windows pay for themselves. They'll also increase your home's resale value with a lifetime transferable warranty. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Okay, y'all, big MMA event with our friends over at Titan Championship coming to the Texas Club this weekend. A couple of fighters will be in studio here in about 17 minutes, including former LSU Tiger Kolton Crochet. Kolton Crochet, former LSU football player, is now turned into a mixed martial artist. He'll be in studio along with Jordan Mays. They'll be competing this weekend out at the Texas Club. If you want to watch some live MMA, looking forward to that conversation in about 17 minutes from right now. When we come back, Schlossnagel wasn't the only baseball news on Tuesday. LSU did lose another baseball assistant coach. I want to talk about the significance of that. And an LSU football signee has confirmed he is going to be a two-way player at LSU. At least he's going to give it a shot. I have some thoughts on that. We'll get to it next on AFR.
AFR.
And when it is 94 degrees outside, I can't even imagine spending time outside during the Louisiana summers without a swimming pool. We got one in our house. I'll never own a home without a swimming pool again. If that's your dream, to have a beautiful custom pool built at your home, or if you had a pool that quite honestly just needs some upgrading, needs to be remodeled, you need Duplessis Builders. I'm going to give you the website. It's duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Y'all listen to this show for long enough, you know one thing about me. Especially when it comes to contractors, I'm never going to recommend to you the guy that's the cheapest. I'm going to recommend the guy that's the best. And that's the case with Duplessis Builders. Derek Duplessis, they're not going to cut corners. They will not compromise building standards to save a few bucks. At Duplessis Builders, they will walk away from a job before they put their name on something that is not to their standard. It's Duplessis Builders. If you are even thinking about building a pool, you owe it to yourself to give Duplessis Builders a look. DuplessisBuilders.net.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
The best.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here. Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. Last day for your boy for a hot minute. I'll be off starting tomorrow all through next week as well. I'll be back Monday, July the 8th. So Hunt is going to host tomorrow. Taylor Sharp will be in the big chair on Friday. And then Musso will have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then everybody here is going to be off Thursday and Friday for the 4th of July holiday. Then I'll be back Monday the 8th. So it'll be the last time I talk to you for a bit. But I do wish everybody very, very safe and wonderful 4th of July. And great time as we move through the summer. All right, it's after further review. And glad you're hanging out with us here today. Interesting. Okay. There's a nut. Well, let me just. I'll just throw this out here. I don't have a lot to add to it, but it's a text message that I literally just got, and it's from someone that I trust. So again, this text just came in, and I don't have anything to add other than just what I'm about to tell you. And I'll make some calls and try to vet this a little bit more. But apparently, there is momentum for Nolan Cain to be named the head coach at Texas A&M. That some of the players remaining there at Texas A&M are pushing for Nolan to stay in College Station. I don't know what will happen. I don't have anything more than that, except to say that some of the names that I've heard, I've already shared with you. Nick Mingione from Kentucky was one of the first names I heard. Tim Tadlock from Texas Tech was a name that I heard. Again, a guy that had a lot of success at Texas Tech, but their program has eroded a little bit in NIL just because they don't have the resources to compete. And then Skip Johnson at Oklahoma is a name that I heard is a possible interest. So now, could Nolan Cain be in line there for his first head coaching job and for it to be at Texas A&M? Apparently, there's players pushing for it, and at a time of turmoil and tumult at Texas A&M, that might provide some stability, at least on that roster. So we'll see if old Big Daddy Cain gets his opportunity. So we'll keep you posted if I learned anything more there. One thing we did learn for certain is that LSU is down another assistant coach who got a head coaching job. Brent Herring has been named the new head baseball coach at Nichols. So Nichols lost Mike Silva to the head coaching job at Arkansas State, and so they were looking, I will tell you as well, one of the names that appeared to be at the front of the line was Andy Cannizaro. We all remember Andy, who, of course, played at Tulane, was an assistant at LSU, became the head coach at Mississippi State, lost that job amid scandal, was coaching in the high school ranks in New Orleans, and apparently was in line to get that Nichols job. And I believe Jay Johnson really pushed hard for Brent Herring, and it worked. So Brent Herring spent the last 10 years at BYU, and then Jay Johnson hired him this year as an assistant on this LSU staff. He was an off-field assistant, but a guy who is very well respected, was a great recruiter at BYU during his time there as well, and now he'll be the head coach at Nichols. There's a couple of things that I think are significant here. Jay, of course, had the relationship with Brent Herring during his time on the West Coast when Jay was at Arizona for those years, and Herring was at BYU, so he was able to bring him here. The other thing I think that really benefits LSU tremendously with a hire like this is, let's just be very honest. In the portal era, there are going to be players who, coming out of high school, aren't at the level to go to LSU. So maybe they stay in state and go to Nichols. And then in a couple of years, they are much improved, physically developed, and they look into the portal for a place like LSU. Jacob Myers is a great example of that. We just saw it. Jacob Myers, kid from Santa Ma, who was lightly recruited, went to Nichols, really developed, has a whip, great strikeout stuff. Now he's committed to LSU. Awesome. Well, when you have that relationship, and I do understand that when you're LSU, especially in the state, maybe you could get any kid you wanted in the state largely. But it helps to have those relationships in place as well. I remember Ed Ogeron did this. It was a very smart thing that Ed did. And Ed, for all of his faults that we talked about, the unquestioned truth about Ed Ogeron is his superpower was he was an elite level recruiter, among the best anybody's ever seen. And one of the things he did that was really smart was when LSU held their elite camps, he invited every school in this state to coach, to bring their coaching staff to come participate. And what that did, look, every kid that comes to an LSU elite camp isn't going to get an LSU offer, but it gives the Tulane coach and the ULL and ULM coach and La Tech coach and McNeese and Grambling and Southern, gives all these coaches, Nichols, all these coaches, an opportunity to get to know these kids, to work them out, to scout them, recruit them, and you develop this great relationship with the in-state programs because inevitably you're going to be recruiting in-state in those areas where these coaches have a lot of those relationships, and it would benefit you even more. It's a very smart thing to do to nurture relationships at the root, and that's kind of what you're doing here as well. So I wish Brent Herring well, and just strictly from LSU's perspective, if you're Jay Johnson, as much as it stinks to have this much turnover on your staff, like Terry Rooney's already left to go to South Carolina with Paul Manera, you lost Wes Johnson last year. When you keep losing guys, Jason Kelly to Washington, when you keep losing guys to being head coaches, it's really easy to hire great assistants because you're going to be well paid, you're going to coach great players at LSU, and you're going to be in a spotlight where you got a great chance to go be a head coach if that's your goal. So really, that's pretty fantastic news all the way around for LSU. It stinks to lose Brent Herring, but a great thing for him, and I think a net good thing it will be for LSU's program. All right, it's after further review. I want to talk about Trey'Dez Green here. The big prospect out of Zachary is going to give it a two-way go at LSU. I want to talk about that in a second. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or go to williamsoneye.com. If you have ever even considered LASIK or any type of refractive procedure, maybe it's EVO ICL. That's an implantable contact lens. It's an alternative to LASIK. I would highly recommend you ask Dr. Blake Williamson about it. Maybe you had LASIK, your eyes continue to age. PRK could be perfect. That's what Hester had. My cousin Steven had PRK, had LASIK years ago. His eye continued to age. Like, LASIK doesn't wear off. That's a myth. It's your eye continues to age, and you could have other issues. Well, PRK could be a great option for you. Anyway, call the Williamson Eye Center. Go for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's Williamson, EYE.com. So LSU basketball has officially listed its roster for the 2024-2025 season, and Trey'Dez Green was on it. You might remember Matt McMahon was here about a month ago or so, and we talked to Matt McMahon, and I asked him specifically about Trey'Dez, and he wasn't able to comment on it at the time because Green, there was just some uncertainty because Green was a football signee and what he could say. There were roster questions, all that stuff. So he just deferred the question. He wasn't avoided. He was very candid. He said, I just don't know if I can say anything about that. So he didn't. But we learned that Trey'Dez Green is going to be a member of the LSU basketball team. They've unveiled the roster. Trey'Dez Green is going to wear number 8 for LSU. And if you're not familiar, Trey'Dez Green is a 6'7" elite level pass catching tight end for LSU. But I can tell you, and I have spoken to Trey'Dez Green. I spoke to him, I guess, I don't know, it would have been sometime around, after the first of the year. And it's very clear he loves basketball. That I might even go so far as to say his first love is basketball. Maybe we'll let him say that at some point. Now, I think just looking at his ability on a football field, there aren't many 6'7" freak show tight ends on a football field. There's a lot of guys that are 6'7" that play basketball. So it's much easier to stand out in a huge way on the football field than it is on the basketball court if you're Trey'Dez Green. But he's going to give it a go. And he didn't get to play basketball his senior year. He was at East Feliciana and then transferred to Zachary. So because of the transfer, didn't get to play basketball his senior year, but played football at Zachary, as we know. And he's going to try to give it a go as a two-sport star. Now, he's a football signee, so he wouldn't even be able to join the basketball team until January. So he would miss all of October and the preseason workouts and then the early season games in November and December. But he wants to give it a go as a two-way guy. And look, Ben McDonald did it, baseball and basketball. Marcus Spears tried to do it in football and basketball, and he's told the story about how after one week of conditioning in basketball, he gave it up and focused on football. We've seen guys like Trendon Holiday and Benny Brazel be track and football guys. That's pretty common. We've seen a lot of baseball guys, baseball, football. Chad Jones, Jared Mitchell, Chris Jackson, Maurice Hampton, Spencer Ware. We've seen a lot of guys try that. But it's hard to maintain and to sustain. So I wish Trey'Dez well, man. My interactions with him, really good young guy, man. Very nice young guy that's easy to pull for, a local guy, and has a great future ahead of him. My guess is it's going to be more so in football than basketball. We'll see how it all plays out. but he's going to try to give it a go and to play both, and we'll see if he's able to maintain that really, really grueling schedule. But Trey'Dez Green officially on the LSU basketball roster, wearing number 8. He'll play power forward for LSU as soon as the football season ends. Okay, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. I'm glad you're hanging out with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR. We're halfway home. When we come back, the Titan Championship fighting this weekend at the Titan Combat this weekend at the Texas Club. If you want to go watch some live MMA, you could do it over at the Texas Club this weekend. And Jordan Mays and Kolton Crochet, former LSU Tiger Kolton Crochet, by the way, a football player, will be in studio with us to talk a little bit about MMA. We'll have Tigers and the Pros coming up as well. Ton to do. Anonymous coaches talking about the Blake Baker hire for LSU. That's coming up in 30 minutes. Ton to do, and glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Tell you all the time. 2 great hotel properties, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. If you're thinking of hosting an event, a board meeting for 12 people, or an event for 500 people, a gala, a ball, a wedding reception, a fundraiser, an awards banquet at the Renaissance Hotel, they always say, we're in the business of saying yes. So call my friend Allison Crump over at the Renaissance Hotel, and she'll tell you how they can make your event a smashing success with the space that they have at the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. Same goes for the Watermark Downtown. Y'all, we're almost to the weekend. Remember, Sunday brunch is always a great option downtown at the Watermark Hotel in the Gregory. If you love brunch, and you haven't tried the Sunday brunch at the Gregory, make sure you do it. Hey, another reminder, evenings at the Renaissance. The next one, a week from Friday, July the 5th, 6 until 8:30 p.m., Spirit Tastings with Cantera Negra Tequila. It's only at the Renaissance Hotel.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, I'm an idiot, and we actually have Jordan Mays and Kolton Crochet scheduled for next hour at this time, hour 3. I completely screwed that up. My apologies. I teased the wrong thing. So you're welcome to get involved if you like. You can always email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. Okay, so what we normally do at the bottom of hour 3 is Plucker's Trivia, where we ask Muse questions. Well, Muse isn't here, so Alondra gets to do the honors for Plucker's Trivia today. Hit it, Alondra.
It's time for Plucker's Trivia. How many will Musso get wrong today? Plucker's Trivia. Every Wednesday night, 7:30 at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson.
All right. Alondra, do you love trivia?
I like trivia, yeah.
I didn't say do you like trivia. So do you love trivia?
Sure.
I don't know, Alondra. It feels like if you love trivia, you go a little harder than sure.
Like trivia.
Okay, you like trivia.
I like trivia.
Can you give me a little more there? I love that theme. It's a really good one. Okay. We got 3 questions. You've listened to the show before, yes?
I've done it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
How did you do?
I don't think I did that well. I think I got 2 of 3.
Maybe it's the chair.
It might be the chair.
Wait, you got 2 of 3, correct?
I think so, yes.
Well, that's good. I mean, Paulie, if she got 2 of 3, I don't know that Muse has gotten 2 questions correct cumulatively in the entire time we've done this.
No, not even close.
There was also one time.
Oh, the anime round.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
He was 3 for 3 in anime. And he's like, oh, I don't even like anime.
Yeah, right.
I was just guessing.
You got 3 for 3.
Yeah, right. You got them all right. Yeah.
There was...
Anime and Taylor Swift. He nailed them both.
Oh, wow. I
the
nailed
rounds.
Taylor
He nailed
Swift.
both rounds.
Yeah.
He nailed both rounds.
Yes.
You're in with T-Bob a lot.
I know.
I don't know if
I didn't
the influence has infiltrated your brain yet.
No, nobody can influence me. But I did it one time where Moose was asking me the questions.
Oh.
And there's some controversy there.
Okay.
Because I said capitalism, but he was asking for a specific form of capitalism. And I was like, he said laissez-faire. And I'm like, it's the same thing. And he didn't give me that.
Yeah, I don't think I would give you that either.
Wow. I'd give it to me.
I mean, the answers are written here. The answers are what they are.
I guess.
If you don't get them, there's no half credit.
Yeah.
This isn't partial credit. And by the way, as I say often here, this is a radiotatorship.
Yeah.
It's not a radiocracy.
Okay.
I make the rules. So you get no points.
Okay.
Unless you want them, you can have them. I'm good either way.
Okay.
All right, here we go, Alondra. 3 questions, and I'll tell you, I'm noticing here one of the questions is, one of the questions we had last week as well. So there's a repeat. Were you listening to trivia a week ago? Okay, good. All right, here we go. Number 1, which Norse goddess is the mother of Thor? T-Bob would know this.
He would, and he's going to be so disappointed. But I feel like I should know it because I've seen the movie Thor, but I cannot remember.
I wasn't even thinking about the movie Thor.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Give yourself a buzzer.
Okay.
Do you know the buzzer in the... There it is. The answer is Frigga, Frigga.
Yeah, I definitely...
Frigga?
No
Polly,
idea.
you know? This is way out of my ballpark.
Yeah.
All right, how much do you Jesus?
I Jesus every Sunday.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
Think you're are you a Catholic?
I'm Catholic.
So are you a good Catholic?
I'm an okay Catholic.
You get in your Bible?
I try my best, yeah.
You get in your
Bible?
Bible?
I do the rosary every night.
Well, I didn't ask about the rosary.
No,
I said you get in the Bible.
I get in the Bible.
Okay.
Every now and then.
Well, there's one
I know.
here that...
There's just so much to retain in that.
Oh, there's a lot to retain.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big book.
It is a huge book.
And they really don't have any pictures in there either.
No, none.
Makes it really challenging for people who are very visual. You know what I mean? Okay.
The names, too.
A lot of hard names, yeah. Gad, Asher, especially those Old Testament names.
Yeah,
a lot of them, yeah. All right, here you go. You ready?
Yeah.
Damascus. Sound familiar?
Damascus, yes.
What happened on the road to Damascus?
Man, I really don't know.
You don't, Bible.
No, not hard enough to know the answer to that, no. I'm going to go ahead and...
Well, that's not the question.
Oh.
The question is, Damascus is the capital Syria of which Asian country?
I feel like you said Syria, no?
It is Syria!
Oh!
Hey, did I say Syria?
I think you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
You did. What did I say?
I think you slipped it in there. Like, you were like, what is the capital Syria?
Did I?
Or something like that.
Well,
Yeah, I think you said
it in
Syria.
In the question?
I think so, yeah. I knew it was somewhere like in the Middle East portion of the world.
And I'm almost positive that it ain't Asia either. I'm pretty sure that's in Africa.
Damascus, Syria?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Middle East.
Yeah, it's in Africa.
Yeah.
This question's all jacked up.
Mm.
I mean, right? Look, I know a
I'm
little
not-
about geography. I can't tell you I know everything about Middle Eastern geography,
Yeah.
but Damascus is in Syria, but I'm almost positive that that's not Asia. I'm almost positive that Damascus would be in would be an African country. Like, wouldn't it be? Right? Yeah.
I'm Googling.
Or is that Asia? No, I guess that is Asia. Wow. Okay. It's in the Middle East, but I guess that is Asia.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
The Middle East.
Right there on the border, too.
Yeah.
Right there on the southern part. Interesting. Beautiful. I'm looking at some of these pictures
It's like
here.
Asia Minor.
Kinda. Anyway, of course, Saul was on the road to Damascus.
Yes.
And that's where, God struck
Where
him
he was
down and said, hey,
Paul.
why are you persecuting my people, man?
Yeah.
Stop that.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Those were his exact words. Verbatim.
Okay.
I'll turn this car around.
That's what he said?
Yeah.
I'm going to knock you off that ass. The donkey.
Yeah.
It's an animal.
Mhm.
Calm down, Alondra.
I
All right,
didn't
here's your
even-
last one. We're 0 for 2.
Yeah.
Actually, well, I don't even know if the last one counted
I don't
because I
think
guess
so.
I
You
asked
gave
the
me
question
the-
wrong.
yeah.
I did, didn't I? Sorry. Paul said I did as well. I didn't even think I did.
Mhm.
Damascus is the capital city of which Asian country? Syria?
Oh, you said which Syrian country?
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Which Syria is a country.
My bad. Okay, yeah. So I messed up there. Okay, here, last
Okay.
one.
All right.
True or false? You got a 50-50 shot.
God.
50-50 shot.
All right.
This is the one that was here last week that Muse got. Actually, I think he missed this. He said he loves the show Taxi, but he missed the answer to this question.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm going to miss it then.
Taxi, the American sitcom that debuted in 1978, was based on a similarly successful TV series in England. True or false?
True.
It is false. And I'm almost positive, like, Muse talked about how he loved, with Judd Hirsch and the old, I was like, you talking about the movie with Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah? Or the series? He's like, no, the series with Judd Hirsch and Danny DeVito and all. And then he got the question wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Never seen it.
All right, Alondra goes 0 for 3.
Yeah.
How about that? Terrible
Well, why
day,
would they make
boy.
that up?
Well, it's just a question. To trick people like you.
Yeah.
And me and Muse and
Well, it
everybody else.
worked.
We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Y'all, we're hitting the road. I mean, this is an honest to goodness true story. By the way, yesterday I was doing the Shaw Bills read is when you interrupted me, but we were telling the story yesterday about, so Friday, we're at the Texas Club for Battle of the Bands. It was Michelle Southern and Jimmy Brooks. Cade and I were the judges for Battle of the Bands. Alondra was there. The Eagle 98.1 staff was there. Brittany Rose from 100.7 The Tiger. Battle of the Bands ends. It's 12:30 in the morning. We're leaving the Texas Club and walk over to my car, and the rear driver's side tire flat as a pancake. Alondra, I think I did a good job changing the tire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty. I got it. I mean, putting the
No,
donut
you did it
on,
fast.
and I
Yeah.
didn't even have like a hydraulic jack. I didn't have a tire iron. I mean, I had like the bare bones. I think I did a pretty good job. But the point is, we're hitting the road tomorrow to go to the beach. Got to get that stuff taken care of. Get the tire right. Got to get the oil change. Got to get all that stuff done. Take it to Shaw Bills. So obviously, I took my car to Shaw Bills. And the great news, they repaired my tire for free. There was a big old bolt. I mean, the bolt was that big stuck in my tire, but they were able to repair it. And they repaired it for free because I tell you all the time, it's part of the Charlie's Dozen. You buy your tires at Shaw Bills, they'll repair your tires for free, no charge. And it's not just because I'm on the radio talking about it. That's anybody. Shaw Bills. They treat you like family, so you keep coming back year after year after year. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all, appreciate you for being aboard with us here. You can always email us or tweet us or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona. We did post a lot of, at the request of many of you, we did post the full segment from yesterday's show after we learned the news. The news broke that Jim Schlossnagel was leaving Texas A&M for Texas, and I went on an impromptu rant. I had all the receipts on Twitter because after Monday, when I tweeted the very real possibility of Jim Schlossnagel leaving Texas A&M for Texas, boy, A&M fans didn't like that very much. My tweet was, it had 500,000 impressions, something like that, and just gobs and gobs of goobers in my mentions. And so I went back and just quote tweeted all of them with old takes exposed, and then we had our receipts yesterday on the show. So if you missed that, the full segment is both on Twitter and on we're on Facebook too, Paulie? Yeah, we're on Twitter and on Facebook if you want to check it out at 104.5 ESPN. We will continue to unpack a lot of this as we move along here through the remainder of the show. I'm glad to have you aboard with us here. We'll update the transfer portal as it goes. 7, if you're just jumping in the car today, maybe just knocking off of work, 7 Aggie players have already jumped in the portal. Jace Laviolette, who's a guy who hit 29 bombs this year, power hitting outfielder, who's a projected top of the draft guy for next year. Caden Kent, second baseman, the son of Jeff Kent, who played third base as a freshman, lost his job to Gavin Grahovac, played some second down their stretch run this year. He's in the portal as well, and I think LSU's got a really good chance of landing Caden Kent, so one worth keeping an eye on. Grahovac is in the portal, the third baseman. We'll see how many of these guys end up landing at Texas with Jim Schlossnagel, how many go elsewhere, who Texas A&M might be able to retain, but ultimately either through portal, draft, or eligibility, Texas A&M has lost the top 11 players in their lineup this year. So it is going to be a massive turnover for whoever has that job next year. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. We'll come back to some Tigers and the Pros, get some of your texts, emails, tweets, so get them all in. It's AFR.
AFR.
Heat index over 100 degrees. You can go inside where it's cool. Your AC unit can't. Sits out there on the side of your house day after day, month after month, year after year, never gets a break. That's why you got to make sure that thing is running efficiently. Call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. I always love sharing these 5-star Google reviews. How about this one from Jerry Warner? The technician arrived on time, completed his review of my unit, cleaned the areas outside of my AC, and replaced the starter kit for the unit. He was very professional and thorough. His explanation of the status of my unit based on the age and the current condition of it, they were great. 5-star review from Jerry Warner. That could be your experience as well. More than twice the amount of 5-star Google reviews than the next closest competitor. You have issues with your AC? Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
NBA Draft round 1 is tonight. This year they made the draft into a 2-round event. The latest mock draft, the final mock draft, is out from Jonathan Givony and Jeremy Wu over at ESPN.com. I think I tell the story every year, but Jonathan Givony, back in the day when he was doing Draft Express, Josh Innes and I were doing a show called The Fastest Hour on the Score 1210. I mean, this was like 2007, 2008, and nobody knew who Jonathan Givony was. We just found a guy that did NBA draft stuff. And so he'd come on with us every year, and now you can't get a return email. Dude's made it. Good for him, though, man. But the latest mock draft, the last mock draft is out. They do have the Pels at 21 using their pick and taking Yves Missi, the center out of Baylor. And I think it's pretty well known at this point that New Orleans is going to move on from Jonas Valanciunas. There's actually a lot of steam around the possibility of Jonas ending up with the Lakers there with new coach J.J. Redick, of course, was a one-time Pelican. So perhaps we see. Look, Jonas has been a fan favorite. He's really good. He just doesn't necessarily fit what the Pelicans are doing. So I get it. So if you need a big, you get a guy that's 20 years old here in Yves Missi, who with a decision coming forward on Brandon Ingram and, Jonas becoming a free agent and certainly won't be back, you're going to need to address those two spots on this team. And Yves Missi would very likely be a fit for New Orleans if, in fact, they draft him there. It's the pick that they got via the Bucks. So with the Drew Holiday trade. So in any event, Pels pick 21st. We'll see if they make the pick. If they move, they get a deal done for Brandon Ingram tonight. We'll see how it all goes. But busy night for the New Orleans Pelicans. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Alondra, Tigers in the Pro.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, I did it today. Yesterday I slacked off a little bit.
Way to go, Alondra. Fine. You did your job.
Yay,
congratulations. Round of applause for doing your job.
Go me.
Hey, all right.
All right, we're going to start off with our guy, Paul Skeens.
There he is.
Paul Skeens had his longest outing of the season on Sunday. He went 7 innings, held the Tampa Bay Rays to 1 run on 6 hits, and just 1 walk.
On Sunday?
Yeah.
Alondra, it's Wednesday.
I know, but
do you understand
I know what time it is, but we didn't talk about it because I didn't do it yesterday. So we talked about Aaron Nola doing this first triple play since 1929, and I feel like Paul Skeens needs a shout out for the longest outing of the season so far. Dude is about to be Rookie of the Year. I don't know, but there's smoke around Paul being the Rookie of the Year.
Well, the betting odds favor him being Rookie of the Year at this point, but Skeens is on the bump next. Skeens?
His 98th pitch was 102 miles per hour.
Alondra, we did this on Monday.
Did we?
You weren't here Monday.
Did this. I don't know what day it is anymore.
Alondra, Tigers in the Pros is a more recent. It's a
okay,
more
so here's
recent
something more recent
segment. Like what happened between the last time we did this segment and now? Maybe I should have explained better. We're not looking. Hey, by the way, Billy Cannon was the #1 overall pick back in '61 or whatever it was.
All right, that's an exaggeration right there.
Oh,
That's very hyperbolic.
Yeah, it was.
All right,
you're right.
Yesterday, Alex
Are
Lang.
you sure?
Yeah, I'm
Are
sure.
you sure?
Yes, this is yesterday,
Okay.
Tuesday. Yesterday was Tuesday, correct?
I think so. Although I am going on vacation in an hour and 8 minutes.
I don't know
so I've
what
lost
day
track
it
of days
is.
a little bit as well.
Alex Lang yesterday underwent Tommy John surgery.
Oh, man.
I know, but they say everything went well,
Good.
and he'll begin his recovery soon. So get ready for this one. Josh Smith started at third base yesterday and went 1 for 3 and had the only run that the Rangers had yesterday in their 3-1 loss to the Brewers.
By the way, that was an RBI in the top of the first inning.
Yeah.
It was an RBI single at the top of the first inning. That was the only run they scored in that ball.
Only run.
He's playing great, though, man. Good for Josh Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just earned his way into that lineup. They ain't taking him out.
Shout out Josh Smith. One more. Kevin Gausman had a win last night. Allowed 3 earned runs on 5 hits. 1 walk, struck out 5 over 6 innings against the Red Sox.
Are you sure it was last night?
Yes, Tuesday.
Are you positive this was Tuesday?
I am positive.
Okay. Let me see.
What?
I'm just looking to see if we got anything updated here.
I know I went 0 for 3 in trivia.
And then you let off Tigers in the Pros with something that happened on Sunday.
But it's all good.
72 hours later.
Everything else was from yesterday.
By the way, Paul Skeen set to start tonight. You missed his outing 5 days ago.
You can catch it tonight. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They are the best. Gentlemen, if you're thinking of popping the question, go where Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for 40 years. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Baton Rouge, 2 locations, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport. Actually, they got locations in Texas and Mississippi as well, but you can check them out online at lmfj.com. Listen, when you walk into Lee Michaels, they make it a fantastic Lee Michaels experience. They're so big on that. You're making a very important life decision when you're buying a diamond ring. You're going to propose to your future wife. Yes, it should be important. They treat you like it's an important, special decision. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Okay, y'all. SportsCenter's coming up. We'll get you caught up on national headlines right here after the top of the hour. And when we come back, I love looking at this sometimes where coaches are given anonymity to say things. And you have to just trust that the source is good and you believe this information. But Athlon does this every year where SEC coaches talk about other SEC coaches. Well, Lindy's magazine did something similar. And what one anonymous coach said about LSU defense coordinator Blake Baker, I think is going to give you a tremendous reason for excitement. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Parish Restoration. Parish Restoration. I've told you before about Mold Zero Pure Restoration. Now, Parish Restoration, all the same thing. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Parish, Jim Woodworth, who I've told you about for years now, Jim Woodworth merged with my guys Richard Tilley and Ryan Terrio, all under the Parish umbrella. So it's Parish Restoration, patented non-toxic dry fog. It's been actually pretty remarkable to hear some of these stories of people who have put out to bid for remediation contracts, and they get the number from Parish Restoration, and they'll call and say, is this number right? And they explain why. I say it often. It is a more cost-effective, more efficient way, and also of remediation, and also because it's a dry fog, you're not cutting sheetrock or pulling out carpet or taking things out of your home or your place of business. They spray the fog, they let it dwell, it dissipates, you're back in free and clear and mold-free. It's Parish Restoration. ParishBuilt.com.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Welcome to NBA Draft Day. Round 1 coverage in an hour on ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern, ABC, and ESPN. There's no clear-cut player to go number 1 overall, so there is intrigue regarding who Atlanta takes at 1. Other intrigue involves Bronny James and where the youngest son of LeBron James may be drafted. ESPN college basketball reporter Myron Medcalf.
Most people haven't watched Bronny James. I have. He doesn't have an NBA skill. And the problem with Bronny is that he had an opportunity with Isaiah Collier and Boogie Ellis getting hurt at USC to really say, okay, here's my moment. The top guys are hurt. I'm going to step up and show everybody that I'm a pro. And he didn't do that. Averaged 4 points a game, made 27% of his three-point attempts. He measured at 6'1". He doesn't belong in the NBA.
Myron Medcalf on Freddie and Harry. Heat starting center Bam Adebayo plans to sign a 3-year, $166 million extension with the team. Celtics president of basketball operations Brad Stevens told the Ryan Russillo podcast center Kristaps Porzingis likely misses the very start of the season following left leg surgery this summer.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Calandro Villarreal. And a Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Oh, by the way, it's hump day.
It's hump day.
Yep.
It's hump day.
I'm feeling good.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You might be asking yourself, Scone,
Hump day.
why are you feeling so good?
It's hump day.
You might be asking yourself, Scones, why are you feeling so good?
Scone, why are you feeling so good?
Glad you asked.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Because in 57 minutes, I'm getting out of here.
Hump day!
And I'm not going to see you again on July 8th. My birthday,
It's
by the way.
hump day.
I know. I'm coming back on my birthday. I should have taken the extra day. You know what I mean?
Mike. What day is it,
It's
Mike?
gonna be hard to come back from vacation. I kind of combined vacation. You know what? That's like what happened with Brian Kelly when he did the family thing. The family.
Hump day!
I still maintain to this day that he just tripped his word. Just like I just did right there, and so it sounded weird. People are like, oh, you trying to fake a southern accent? No, he just tripped on his word.
It's hump day.
Seriously, I was listening to it live. Were you listening to that live when he did it?
I did not. But I also think he tripped on his words.
I was
Mike.
listening
What day is it, Mike?
to that. I'll never where I was when I heard it. Thank you. You can kill the music. Thank you. So that was at halftime of a basketball game, LSU basketball game, and I was at home watching the game. We have a little nighttime routine where my son Drew, he loves to go ride around. He wants to ride around. We're just putting miles in the car and wasting gas. That's all we're doing. Just riding around. He just wants to ride around. And so I get home, I eat dinner, and then Drew and I go ride around. It was halftime of that game. So put him in the car, 15 minutes, we went to just ride around. And so I was in the car, and on the LSU Sports Radio Network, they were playing that, the Brian Kelly family thing. And I was on my street, almost about to turn in my driveway when that happened. And I heard it, I was like, oh, he kind of like tripped on his word there. And then all of a sudden, everything went super viral with the family and all the jokes and everything. But I really think that's what just happened. Can you go into Sterlitz and just get me saying that? What was I saying? What word did I trip on?
Man, I just already forgot. What was it, Paul?
Short-term.
You combine vacay and vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Vacay. I was trying to say vacay, and then I'd like do vacay or vacation. Yeah. Anyway, but I am going on vacation. So I'll be out tomorrow, Friday, then all of next week. I'm back Monday, July the 8th. Hunt will be in tomorrow. Hunt's going to do 5 hours tomorrow. God bless him. Taylor Sharp will be in here on Friday, excuse me. Musso will be back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then everybody's off Thursday, Friday for the 4th. So we wish everybody really safe and wonderful 4th of July. But really, really looking forward to getting a little time away. And, man, we'll be back. We'll be a week away from SEC Football Media Days. While we're at Media Days, Saints Rookies Report the next week, the full roster reports for fall camp a week after that, or training camp a week after that, LSU reports for fall camp, and then we're in it, y'all. So, I mean, it's almost – I know people think the summer's a grind. I love the summer. We get to expand, talk a lot about a lot of different things, and a lot of fun stories. Certainly not just the games going on, because when sports dry up, at least live sports, but it allows us to do a lot of different stuff, and I enjoy doing it. But, man, Media Days is around the bend, and football's almost here, so we're looking forward to it. All right. Every offseason, there are media outlets that publish quotes from anonymous coaches. And I love reading those because you'll never get coaches to speak on the record. Rarely will you get coaches to speak on the record and say anything really juicy about another program. So you have to, in some degree, trust that the media outlet who publishes these quotes has enough credibility to get impactful coaches to say these things that they're giving anonymity. Like Athlon every year does something like this, what anonymous SEC coaches say about other SEC teams. And it's very interesting to see. And look, it could be, when you just say an SEC coach, it could be an analyst at Vanderbilt. Could be. And so it doesn't have quite the clout as Kirby Smart, right? Or Steve Sarkisian, who's coming in as a SEC head coach now. But you just have to trust that the people publishing these quotes have connections and there's validity behind them with whoever they're asking. So Lindy's, and we're good friends with the folks over at Lindy's. Our buddy Lynn Scarborough has been a contributor on the show I met Lynn Scarborough in 2005. Almost 20 years I've known Lynn Scarborough. Lindy, who obviously is the publisher of the magazine, we talk to him every year at SEC Media Days. Well, Lindy's spoke to SEC coaches and gave them anonymity. And with respect to LSU, one of the questions asked was about Blake Baker and the LSU defense. And if you're an LSU fan, you will love this quote, because it's not me saying it, a media member. It's not fans saying it. It's not even players who play for Blake Baker, because as we've talked about many times, in the offseason, Hope springs eternal. Everyone's undefeated. Optimism abounds. Every coaching hire was the greatest. Every recruit or transfer that you got is going to be an All-American. Everything is great in the offseason. So sometimes it's interesting to hear other coaches' perspectives who don't want you to have success. So this is what a coach, an SEC coach, said anonymously about LSU's hiring of Blake Baker. Here we go. Quote, they changed defensive coordinators from Matt House to Blake Baker, and I'm not sure House's style worked. It was all over the place. A lot of exchange responsibilities, hence a lot of busts. It's going to be interesting in 24 with Baker because it's a major difference. Sometimes you need to cut it back. You need to simplify. But Baker is a phenomenal D coordinator, and he should get that remedied really quickly. Not me saying it. That's another SEC coach talking about Blake Baker, and in particular, the contrast with Blake Baker and Matt House. And the thing about Matt House, which is so fascinating about why it didn't work here, it's just an illustration of how sometimes the same message told to a different group of people just doesn't connect. Matt House has a history as a really good defensive coordinator. He had been a good defensive coordinator at Pittsburgh. He had been a good defensive coordinator at Kentucky. Do you realize in 2018 when Matt House was the DC at Kentucky in the SEC, not only did they win double-digit games, that defense, that Kentucky defense in 2018, the 2018 Kentucky Wildcats defense, of which Matt House was the coordinator, was number 6 in America in scoring defense. 6 in scoring defense. The guy can coach. Tyrann Mathieu called him one of the best coaches he ever had. He was a linebackers coach with the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think with Matt House, you have a guy that through different periods in his career has been in the NFL, and LSU got him after 3 years with the Chiefs and with Steve Spagnuolo. And I think conceptually, the verbiage, the concepts, all of it was just a little over the head of the college players that he was coaching. And it's not to say that they're not smart. That's not the point at all. It's just sometimes, like, think about it this way. How many times do we hear rookies go from college to the NFL and how they got to dive into the playbook, how they're swimming because it's a new playbook, it's new verbiage, new terminology, it's complex schemes, it's all that sort of stuff, the mental part of the game at the next level, combined with the speed of the game, right? You want the game to slow down mentally for you, but that takes time. If Matt House brought all that to the college level and those guys weren't ready for it, you went from, think about it this way. You went from Durante Jones, who, and I don't mean any disrespect to Durante, who did come, by the way, from being an assistant with the Minnesota Vikings, but Durante hadn't been a DC since he was a DC in 2009 at the Division II level. You went from that to a guy that was a linebackers coach with the Kansas City Chiefs the last 3 years. They won a Super Bowl in 2019 at the point. Like, yeah, man, that there has to be some understanding that you're not talking to 30-year-old veteran defenders. You're talking to 18, 19, and 20-year-olds who were playing, in high school a year prior. So maybe it was part of that. It was Matt House's inability to communicate effectively what he needed the defense to do, his inability to simplify when they needed to, which is why when you had an erosion of talent coupled with a complicated scheme and your DC didn't adjust, you had the worst defense in history a year ago. But when you hear this coach, this SEC coach anonymously say, I'm not sure House's style worked. It was all over the place. A lot of exchange responsibilities, hence a lot of busts. Well, if you're running coverage and your guys aren't getting it, there's going to be busts. Well, the way that you simplify is you go man-to-man. Well, from zone, LSU didn't have good enough players a year ago to play man coverage. And so when you try to play man, you get beat. When you try to play zone, there were busts. So hopefully Blake Baker's impact immediately is twofold. One, simplify the defense. Because even with the personnel deficiencies LSU had a year ago, there's no reason to be 108th ever to be 108th in the country in total defense at LSU. I don't care if the talent, it doesn't look like Derek Stingley and Caleb Von Chasson and Patrick Queen and first rounders everywhere. It should never be 108. So simplifying it will make you better. And hopefully some of the talent influx that they've had this year will bump it up a little bit more. I've said it before, I'm going to keep saying it. I don't need this defense to be top 10. I don't need them to be top 20 or top 30. Just need them not to be the worst defense in the history of the program, because the offense should be plenty good enough to win any game you play. The defense just can't lose it for you like they did a year ago. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. And I love telling you about Supper Club. I got a text earlier today from Chef Layton over at Supper Club. Man, today was Butcher Day. I love it, man. So we've told you before, Supper Club, they're a proud partner with Sagrera, which is a farm in Ethel. And boy, they take tons of pride in their product there. Well, at Supper Club, they don't just like pick and choose. Oh, we'll take some fillets, we'll take some prime rib, whatever. They take the entire animal. It's slaughtered at the farm in Ethel. And then the entire animal is butchered in-house at Supper Club. One time, Chef Layton's told me the story. One time they do an amazing job at Supper Club of sort of telling the story behind all of the featured items on the menu. And when the server was telling the story about Sagrera, the farm, and how they butcher the animal in-house, a patron kind of called BS. So the server went and got Chef Layton, brought him out to the table, and he explained it again. And Chef said, well, if you want to see, come on in the back. And said, grab your cocktails, grab your wine, and come on. And say, you serious? Absolutely. So he brought this table of customers, of diners, into the kitchen. He's like, I had nothing to hide. Our kitchen is spick and span. It's spotless. It's perfect. So brought him back there, showed it, and said, man, I didn't realize people do this. Said, people don't do this. We do this at Supper Club. It's a true one of one, not only in Baton Rouge, but in Louisiana, and one of the finest dining experiences you will have quite literally anywhere in the United States of America. Supper Club is kind of the gift that Brandon and Mackenzie Landry wanted to give to Baton Rouge. You know, with all the success Brandon's had with walk-ons, they've traveled the world, gone to some of the best restaurants in the world, so he's been able to cultivate and curate a menu from some of the best farms and vendors in the entire world here in Baton Rouge. So even if you can't hop on a plane and go eat in Dubai, you can have that experience right there on Perkins Road at Supper Club. Book your reservation at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. Remember, always look, maybe you want to get in there early after work, 5:30. They have earlier reservations so you can get in before that really, really heavy dinner crowd runs in as well. It's at Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com for your reservations at Supper Club. Okay. It's after further review. If you missed it, let me catch you up when we come back on all the transfer portal news of the day. There are 7 Texas A&M players that hit the portal, including a potential update here on the coaching carousel and a little bit of the short list, or what appears to be a growing list of candidates for the Texas A&M coaching job. We're going to get to that, and we'll talk some MMA with a couple of fighters from the Titan Combat Championship in studio in about 15 minutes. One of them is Kolton Crochet, who played football at LSU, now turned to mixed martial artist. I'll talk to him a little bit about his playing days in the purple and gold. All right, stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, tell you all the time, this feels like home. Y'all, we're heading toward the 4th of July. If you're planning to have people over for the 4th, make sure you get by Rouse's. Everything you need, right? You want some meat for the grill? They got it at Rouse's. You want some waters and some drinks for the kids? They got it. You need the adult beverages, the cold pops, the great craft beer, or any of the fine spirits. Best selection you will find anywhere. There are nearly 70 Rouse's locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, everywhere in between. One of the newest locations is not far from our studio on Florida Boulevard right here in Baton Rouge. So get by the Rouse's near you. Remember, if you're making groceries, go to the website or the app, hit the weekly ad tab. You'll see all of the discounts, all of the sale items at Rouse's this week, so you can save on that grocery bill. It's at Rouse's. They love to source locally. They love to be a part of the community. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Flecker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Flecker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Man, I'm pretty excited about this. Our friends over at Titan Combat Championship presenting the Day of Reckoning. It's the next event that they're having. It's coming up this weekend on Saturday. Brought to you by our friends over at Relief Windows, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, Bud Light involved as well. Of course, all great sponsors of our show. And thrilled to have a couple of guys who are going to be stepping in the cage this weekend. Kolton Crochet and Jordan Mays are in studio with us. Fellas, how are you, man?
I'm feeling good, bro. Ready to go. Ready to get to it.
Jordan, do me a favor. Get a little closer to the mic. No, you're good. But so it was so interesting. We're coming on air, and I asked these guys, I'm like, well, how you feeling? Just thinking, like, y'all are fighting in a few days, right?
Right.
How's the camp going? How you feeling? They're like, man, I'm nervous as hell. Talking about coming on air, like you're more nervous to come on air than you are. Like, explain to me, Jordan, like how you are more nervous to come in here and talk to me than you are like get in a cage and fight somebody.
Well, I spend most of my time, preparing to fight a man. So, that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm comfortable at. We done been there so many times. It's just second nature for us. So,
give me a little bit of background here. Like, Kolton, and you were walked on at LSU last year as a safety, went through spring football and Brian Kelly's program. How long have you been fighting?
I started fighting right near the end of my senior year of high school. I kind of started dabbling in at like an after school boxing program at West Tennessee, and once I came to LSU for school, that's when I really started training, like seriously. Started playing or training MMA and everything, and then as far as walking on, I just kind of I just got the itch for that in the middle of like fighting and everything. I was like, and it'd be kind of cool just to be able to say I played football for LSU.
Yeah.
because my dad, he really pressed me, like trying to, like I felt like he really wanted me to play football coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I made a joke to him. I was like, the only way I'll ever play football again is like if it's at like a P5 school because I want the experience. So when I got here, I was like, I guess I got to go ahead and try and walk on. But
well, what was it like going through spring?
It felt like I was like really like relearning the sport because like in high school, I went to a really, really small high school. It's called Gleason High School in West Tennessee. We were actually, I believe we're the smallest school in the state that still had a football team. Like we had like 20-something kids maybe.
Oh, wow.
And
on the
like
team?
So on the team.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Like, yeah.
You're going both ways.
Like our graduating class was like 40 people. Like that.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
it was really small. So you're playing both ways. And like I played quarterback there as well. And I never really had experience playing like defensive back, like actually like 1A West Tennessee football teams. I don't really throw the ball like that.
Yeah.
So then I come to LSU and I walk on. And like I know I was an athlete and everything, but it just felt like a totally different sport. Like the practices are ran completely different. The position was completely new. Like the only thing that I felt like really like carried over was just the fact that I was athletic.
Yeah. So I want to ask you both these guys. I haven't like seen a record. It's when you're talking about like a promotion that's getting started, like Titan Combat. You know, a lot of you guys are trying to make your name, right? You're trying to get your fights to get your record built so you can keep advancing through the sports. How many fights, Jordan? How many fights have you had?
I've had 8 MMA fights, and I got 3 wins. No, I got 7 MMA fights, 3 wins, 4 losses.
So you're from Vidalia?
Yep.
So when did you pick up fighting?
Oh, I moved to Baton Rouge about 2.5 years ago. Hopped in a gym, and it kind of clicked kind of fast for me. I naturally had the aggression, and I actually got in a fight, my first fight, 2 months after training, and I went out there and won too. So, and I had my third fight the next month, and it's just been snowballing ever since.
Man, it's one of those things where like you have to get experience, right? I mean, it's like you look at some of the big promotions, like we talk about the UFC. Some of those guys maybe fight 2 times a year, maybe 3, but like at this point, you got to get fights under your belt. What's for you? I know a little bit of your backstory and your personal life. I heard that you lost your mom about a year ago. Condolences. She was your biggest fan, huh?
Oh, no doubt, man. She was at every fight, man. My dad hated it. He didn't want me to do it, but yeah, she pushed for me to do it all the time. So
why did she want to see you fight?
I don't know. Well, my mama, she did a little karate back in her day. So, so coming up as a kid, she used to kind of show me some karate moves and stuff like that. And after every fight I win, she'd be like, "Oh, I showed you that when you was little. You remember?"
So what skills, what disciplines, what type of fighter are you?
Oh, predominantly a striker, boxer, kickboxer.
Yeah. What about you, Kolton?
I really couldn't tell you. Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of go in there and scrap.
You didn't have any background at all in fighting?
No, sir.
No
just
training, no wrestling?
Just like with my cousins in the yard and everything.
But that's what happens, right? Most, like you said, your mom did karate. Like most people have some background. They wrestled in high school or they have some background in training. They don't just dive into MMA. So what's been the most challenging part for you, Kolton, in learning the sport where you have to be, there's such a multitude of disciplines where you have to not only be just proficient, but like really good, because if you run up against someone who's an elite striker or elite wrestler, grappler, like you can be in trouble if you can't get out of that.
It's just, I mean, one of the reasons I like the sport is I feel like learning it just never ends because there's just a million different combinations of different fighters you can throw in. How's this wrestler going to do versus this striker versus this? There's just a million different things. So, like, sorry, I forgot your original question.
No, you're good. I was saying, what was the hardest part about, like, of learning all these different disciplines?
It's just like familiarizing your body with motions it's not really used to. One advantage I feel like I kind of had coming into it, especially like playing quarterback. I also played baseball. It was like I had that rotation, like kind of like throwing a punch. And I was just used to having people put their hands on me, like in football and everything. So I feel like you get kind of used to that. But there's a lot of like foreign movements. Like, I mean, you never throw a kick in football.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so you're fighting at 185. How much you weigh today?
185.
Okay,
probably.
So you pretty much maintain your weight?
Yeah, I just, I usually have to cut, but this fight I got like really serious about my diet and everything because I was just tired of not looking as lean as I felt like I could.
Mm-hmm.
And I just leaned out. I imagine I'll go to 170 like sometime in the future.
Yeah. See, you'd be a big 170, man.
Yeah.
It's all about can you maintain your strength at 170 if you cut that much weight?
Yeah, that is true. You're going to get faster every time, but maintaining your strength's like a whole different thing.
Do you know anything about your opponent, Dylan Prejean?
I know he trains in Lafayette. I know he's 2-0. That's all I know about him.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because it's really one of those things where, like, you don't have a ton of film to scout your guys. Yeah. It's like you're going to go in there with your game plan, fight your fight, and see how you do.
Oh, yeah. That's how it is in amateur MMA. Sometimes you can't really get, like, footage of people fighting.
Of course.
Like, I think out of all my fights, there's, like, maybe, like, 2 videos that you could just look up.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I think it might just be 1.
Yeah, Jordan, you're fighting at 135?
That's right.
You're going to cut?
Yeah.
What are you What are you walking around 150 right now?
Yeah, about 150.
Yeah, man.
But really, this isn't gonna be too bad on me. I normally fight at 125. This is my first fight at 35. So.
Man, like, you're gonna do well at one. So you walk around at 150, and you cut to 125.
125.
Are you able to maintain? Same question, like maintain your strength. Do you feel strong when you go in the cage?
The first time it ever really affected me was my last fight. I fought for the AK 125 title, and definitely had some complications with the cut, and that's what made me go up this time. I don't think I'm gonna go back down unless it's for another title fight or for a professional fight.
Yeah.
But a regular amateur fight, they all gonna be 35 from now on, pretty much.
Man, Kolton, Crochet, Jordan Mazer in studio. They'll be fighting Saturday at the Texas Club. It's the Titan Combat Championship, the second event for this promotion, which is new to the area. But I love the fact, man, that they're building up the sport and getting these guys a lot of fights and opportunity. Our friends at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys Relief Windows are the title presenting sponsors here. A-Game Hydration part of it as well. Our friends at Bud Light. So they're doing a great job, man, promoting this. And it's a full fight card as well over at the Texas Club coming up Saturday, a Saturday evening over at the Texas Club. So from now until Saturday, last thing for you guys, what's Jordan, I'll start with you. What's it like for you now to Saturday before the fight?
Just getting the weight down, watching the weight, getting a lot of relaxation in, doing the last film studies, the last mid sessions, getting your head right. But it ain't too bad. You stop thinking about the worst that can happen during these times. You start getting more confident, and I'm just ready to go out there and do my thing. I'm feeling good.
Kolton, how comfortable are you in a cage fighting?
Very uncomfortable, actually, believe it or not. I mean, the whole reason I do it is because, like, it's uncomfortable. Like, I have to chase that thrill. I have to have the adrenaline of it. Like, if I didn't have the adrenaline of that, I would go find it in something else, and I don't know if that's a good thing.
Well, you can find it here, and it'll be interesting to see these fights go down on Saturday. So over at the Texas Club, you can get tickets at the door. Of course, over at Titan Combat Championship, a pretty full fight card as well, man. Looking forward to seeing it go down. Guys, thanks for coming to me. Good luck to you all this weekend, and continued success, okay?
Sure, man.
Sir, appreciate
you having us.
Be well. It's after further review. Let's knock out a quick break here. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics. ActionIndinc.com. That's where you find them online. You can find them on LinkedIn as well. And one of the things that I tell you often about Action Industries that I really respect the most is Action Industries, they know who they are as a business. They've been around since 1982. So in 42 years, they've really developed a reputation among the petrochemical and refinery markets. And so when it comes to those contractors, these industrial and commercial contractors, like, their safety record is exemplary. The work that they do is exceptional, which is why they thrive on repeat business. Well, you don't keep getting hired for 42 years if you're not doing great work. That's Action Industries. But also they know who they are. There's some giant companies that do these mega projects, and they're not going to bid on a $200 million project. But if you have a 100-man job, that's their sweet spot. They're perfect for that. You need to get to know Action Industries. ActionIndinc.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
That was cool, man. Love talking to those guys, not only on air but off. It's just a different mentality of a person to lock yourself into a cage to fight another human that you don't have any animosity toward. Like, sometimes you fabricate that, and that's the cool part about promoting a fight and all that sort of stuff. When you're getting closer to fight and you're trying to sell tickets, and so great promoters are able to do that, to lock into that, and guys with personality can sell a fight. Guys like Conor McGregor, we know, is huge into that, and but man, it's just different, to. Those guys were telling they're more nervous coming here to talk to me in this interview than they were to get into a cage and fight. So, that sport has grown tremendously. I think obviously everybody knows that, and it really starts at a grassroots level, like this here, where those guys have a handful of fights. They're amateurs right now. They're trying to get noticed. Well, the only way you get noticed is to fight. And so you have to be on cards, and you have to go to promotions like this. So, it's a thing where eventually you're going to see this talent come through. Think of it no differently than if you're an aspiring musician and you go play gigs at local bars and stuff like that, and clubs 250 nights a year because you're just trying to get your music out there. Well, it's similar. Most of them aren't going to make it. Most people don't become stars. Most people don't have record labels. Most of these guys don't become professional fighters that make a career out of it. But somebody will. And it's one of those cool things where you can look back and go, man, I saw that guy at Titan Combat Championship in Baton Rouge at the Texas Club back in June of 2024. And, 3 years from now or 2 years from now, the guy's on this 15-fight win streak, and he's getting a crack at the UFC. That's a pretty cool story, when it happens like that. So, in any event, those guys are really cool, man. Appreciate their time, and we'll look forward to seeing them. Wish them luck this weekend. All right, it's after further review. We'll get to Jimmy with Otterlocks here in about 10 minutes from right now. Let me quickly, if I could, update for you everything with the transfer portal. I'm going to do this quickly. I'll run through this quickly since we kind of we did this earlier in the show, but I just understand the nature of radio and being live, and a lot of people are in and out of their cars. Just very quickly, so 7 Texas A&M players have entered the portal. Jace Lavalette, big outfielder, hit 29 bombs this year. It is very likely he's going to follow Jim Schlossnagel to Texas, as I understand it. He's very close with Michael Early, the hitting coach, who went with Schloss to Texas. I think Laviolette ends up at Texas. Caden Kent, the infielder, Jeff Kent's son, I'm told he is very likely to take a visit to LSU soon. He is not going to follow Jim Schlossnagel to Texas. I don't think there's no love lost there. I mean, the guy was benched this year. Ended up playing. He hit .416 in Omaha, but was benched for the majority of this year. I think he's going to go where he feels like he's going to get a chance to play, and there is a real opportunity to replace Tommy White at third base. So I think Caden Kent is a great opportunity of ending up an LSU Tiger. Gavin Grahovec, I think he's probably going to end up at Texas. He was SEC Freshman of the Year, hit 23 homers as the third baseman. Max Coffer is a backup catcher who was the starting catcher a year ago, and then this year lost his job, but LSU has an immediate need there at catcher. So Max Coffer, I think, is a guy that could very well end up at LSU because of the urgency and need for depth at catcher. The other 3 are Jack Bell, who's an infielder, Caden Sorrell, an outfielder who you'd love to sign, but I think it's very likely he follows Schlossnagel as well to Texas. And then Hayden Schott, DH, outfielder. LSU may kick the tires, but I don't know that they need another DH at this point. You've signed a couple of them out of the portal already, so we'll see which way that transpires. LSU needs a third baseman. You need a catcher. You need a shortstop as well, depending on what happens with Braswell, what happens with Gavin Killeen, the Louisville transfer. So we'll keep an eye on that. One other name I know I've mentioned to you, I'll say it again, worth keeping an eye on. Tennessee lefty, Matthew Dallas. Looks like he's either going to be an LSU or Mississippi State guy. So he's 6'5", lefty, low mid-90s from the left side. But looks like LSU and Mississippi State are the finalists there, and he'll likely land at one of those. So LSU could be on the verge of adding another left-handed pitcher as well from the SEC. So the portal still spinning, y'all. And Jay's going to add more players because he's got to. I mean, you got to build a 40-man roster, and a lot of that's going to be portal guys at this point. And we'll see what happens with the draft at the beginning of July. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Tell you about their mobile calibration lab. Of course, Michelli Weighing and Measurement. If you have equipment, precision measurement equipment that you don't want to leave your facility, or it can't leave your facility, remember, Michelli has their mobile calibration lab, so they can come to you and calibrate on site. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. If it's sales, if it's service, if it's rental, calibration, they do it all, and you can learn more at Michelli.com, Michelli, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. In 13 different states, represented calibration labs all over the country. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. One other quick story here I wanted to touch on before we break, get to Jimmy Ott and wrap up the show. The city of Jacksonville, this isn't a local story, it's just a big picture sports story that I want to touch on quickly. The city of Jacksonville approved a deal with the Jaguars on a $1.4 billion renovation of Everbank Stadium. It's basically going to be a gut renovation, a brand new stadium. They're calling it the Stadium of the Future, and it's going to keep the Jaguars in Jacksonville for at least 30 more years. This is relevant for a couple reasons. Construction will begin after the 2025 season, so not after this season, but after next season. And the city is paying $775 million of the renovations, and 56 of that is an altered community benefits agreement. So the city of Jacksonville is shouldering a huge burden of the load of the renovation of this facility. They'll have reduced capacity in 26, and then in 2027 they'll play both Gainesville and Orlando. They'll split their home games. So that's coming for Jacksonville. So a couple things. Number one, if the Jaguars are playing in Jacksonville for the next 30 years, that means London's not getting a team. At least not an existing team, right? That's number one. Because there's been so much talk about Jacksonville, who keeps playing multiple home games per year in London, about the team eventually moving there and having a division or a team in London. Well, it ain't going to be Jacksonville because they just did a deal. It's going to keep them in Jacksonville for the next 30 years with a stadium. That's number one. Number two is some cities just get it. I talk about this often, and There are people who complain here. I've heard this it's a tale as old as time. There are people who don't like that cities and municipalities subsidize professional sports teams. I hear it all the time. Why are you subsidizing billionaire owners? Because it's a business. And that's what smart people do. That's how you attract business. When they have options, you make your destination more appealing. I mean, Louisiana tried to attract a Toyota plant here. They offered gigantic tax breaks and incentives to do it. Toyota is a much bigger company than any professional sports franchise. Nobody complaining about a tax break for Toyota. When Louisiana was given all these tax credits for the film industry and we were Hollywood South down here, people loved it. Never heard anything about, why are you subsidizing these billion-dollar studios? Never heard that. People were just fired up that Tom Hanks was shooting a movie at the USS Kid. That's it. You get confused because you think, oh, it's sports. No, it's a business. Think of it as a billion-dollar business in your town. And some cities don't get it. Some do. Kansas City, Kansas gets it. The state of Kansas is trying to get the Chiefs to move across the state border. And they've already approved stadium credits to do it. Charlotte just agreed taxpayer funds to help subsidize upgrades to the stadium in Charlotte for the Panthers. And now Jacksonville's doing it as well. Places like Chicago, Kansas City, Missouri, you might get left out in the cold on things like this because teams have options. You got a freaking NHL team that's leaving Phoenix to go to Utah. Why? It's a better deal. Make more money. Okay. That's what businesses do. So good on you, Jacksonville. I mean, one of the cities that has been least supportive of their professional sports team is committing $750 million toward renovating that stadium to keep that team there for 30 years. Good on you. They get it. All right. It's after further review, y'all. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers. 2 locations, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery tonight. And every Wednesday, trivia, 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. Get on by. Test your knowledge, eat some wings, drink some beer, win some Pluckers gift cards, some Amazon gift cards, spin that prize wheel. Always a great night to get by Pluckers, but especially on Wednesday when it's trivia. All right, y'all. Final break of the show. We'll come back, wrap up next with Otterlocks. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Man, love telling you about Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Love telling you about Gordon McKernan, the person, someone that I've gotten to know over the years. We've done this promotion here with Gordon. And something you'll hear Gordon say often. He's had so much success, and as a result of all that success, he loves to give back to the community that has allowed him to have so much success. And that's why Gordon has the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, which is Gordon Gives. So you can always go to the website, GordonGives.com, GordonGives.com, and you can learn more about all the ways that Gordon continues to give back through his firm and through many community endeavors. If a lot of the promotions like the bicycle giveaway around Christmas, the laptop giveaway around graduation time, all the NIL deals that we tell you about, you're talking about a man who gives back to the community that's allowed him to have so much success. So learn more at GordonGives.com, GordonGives.com. If you've been injured, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday. Nope. It's not. It's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday edition of AVAR. Can you tell I'm ready for vacation? I mean, all I got to do is get Jimmy's picks, tell people about Evermore Optimize, and then I get to go to vacation. And I'm not coming back till July the 8th. I'm really excited about that. My brain needs a break. All right, hit it. Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Otter, how are you?
Where are you going on vacation, man?
Going to 38, where all the cool kids go, right?
Yes, indeed, baby. You know it, baby.
Clip that for Terrio.
July 18th, I'll be going. So, Hanny will help me a 2.5 weeks for Del Mar. So, got to get some winners in while we can, huh?
I'd love it. I'd love nothing more. So I'll be gone. I'll be gone until the 8th. So I'll be back Monday the 8th, and then the week after that, Otter, is SEC Media Day. So we're in Dallas till Thursday the 18th, the day you leave.
Yes. Media Days. Jim Schlossnagel going to show up?
Not at football media days, brother.
Oh.
I think Richard, what's his name? Zane? Richard Zane?
Zane. Who's Zane?
That's the reporter from Texags who asked Schlossnagel the question after the championship game.
You know.
Is it Richard Zane? Oh, that's also the name of the attorney. Oh, Robert Zane is the attorney in Suits. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, Otter.
He apologized to him, man. It was kind of weird, out of character for Schlossnagel, but you know, hey man, poor Texas A&M. They just can't catch a break, huh? I mean,
you know,
they've been in the league for 12 years. Hey, Texas is here. Let's move Media Days to Texas.
I said the same thing. I not only that, Jimmy, but I was on air at Media Days 2 or 3 years ago. Whenever they made the announcement that Texas and OU were coming into the league, I was on air. I was on air at Media Days when it broke. And immediately, the response from A&M was pushback. They were basically told, Jimmy, sit down and shut up. Because they were going to have the league was going to have a unified front. So they were told, sit down and shut up. Media Days is going to Dallas. And now Texas took their coach. I mean, A&M, if they're a little salty, I get why they're a little salty because they are disrespected.
And Oklahoma's been the better football program, but check the schedule out. We put the projected order of finish, top 8, bottom 8 in the SEC this year. Texas, they only play 7 games. They play each other, Texas and Oklahoma. Right. But Oklahoma's got 6 of the 7 in the top 8. And then Texas has 1 of the top, 2 of the top in a trip to Vanderbilt. Also, is one of their road games. It's a joke, man. Completely lopsided. So, but anyway, Texas, they love Texas, boy. Love Texas. So, 2-0 last night, 2 rocking chairs as well.
That a babe. Love that.
Yeah, first 5. And what was the other one I gave you last night? Pittsburgh and I can't even remember.
Not even a lot, Otter. I'm not even looking at it right now. So I got about 3 minutes till I get to be gone. I'm not even looking at it.
Houston run line.
Yeah, Houston run line. That was it. It was. I remember, Jimmy. I remember. It was Houston run line. That's what it was.
Yeah. All right. Money line parlay.
Okay.
Best line is at DraftKings also. Dodgers and Red Sox.
All right.
Over here at the Queen right now at DraftKings. Let's put it down at the DraftKings Sportsbook over here. That's should be playing 163, something like that.
Hang on, Red Sox and the Doyers coming back at $1.63.
Okay. And St. Louis money line.
All right, and the Cardinals on the money line.
Several sources that we talked to, from Biloxi to Baton Rouge to Las Vegas. The biggest liability that they have, they do not need this guy to be pick number 1 in the draft. Bronny James. Okay, so let me just. So when the Otter goes in a little slump, you take your shot. Let me tell you something. Don't bet on Bronny James to go number 1 tonight. Okay.
You don't think there's a good shot of cashing that ticket, Otter?
I apologize. One day we're gonna tell our grandkids. You know what? Yeah, one time the retiring player, they hired his podcast buddy with no coaching experience. He dropped 2 F-bombs at his introductory press conference, and then they drafted his son, who was averaging 4 points a game in college. Really?
Do you think they're going to draft Bronny?
Who is that? Papa? Was that the Magic? Was that was that the Bobcats?
Is it the Grizzlies? The Bobcats.
The Lakers.
The Bobcats.
It's the Lakers.
1 minute remaining.
The Bobcats. All right. Tomorrow's Thursday, Otter. Where are you?
Tomorrow we are at downtown, Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar.
All right.
Pretty stuck and good.
Jimmy and Charlie, lunchtime. Catch them tomorrow and every weekday. Thank you, Otter.
Hey, thank you, J.J. Reddick. We don't give a shuck. So,
get out of here. All right, that's Jimmy Ott. Just about going to do it for us as we get downstairs. We do appreciate Evermore. Just been a great partnership with Evermore. Been a great life experience for me. It changed my life. Drinking Evermore, natural artesian water. Pick it up at great retailers or online at evermore.com, evermore.com. Drink a Louisiana product, y'all. Don't drink those crinkly plastic bottles from Texas. Don't drink a square bottle from another country. Get a great Louisiana product. Drink Evermore. Evermore.com. Alondra Pauly, thanks. I'll see y'all Monday, July 8th. Peace.
AFR.
All right, as I get on to vacation, I'm going to remind you about Optimize, generatorpeople.com, generatorpeople.com. I want you to remember that website, or I want you to punch it into your phone right now or tell Siri, hey, Siri, go to generatorpeople.com. I think a lot of people's phones just did that right now, as a matter of fact. Hey, Siri, log on to generatorpeople.com. My phone's trying to do it right now. I just saved you a step. Because the bottom line is, you know as well as I do that you want a Generac automatic home standby generator. Who doesn't? There's nobody that'd be like, I'm good. Storm comes, knocks out power. I'd rather sit in the dark. Nobody would say that. Of course you want a generator, and you want to optimize. If you don't think you can afford it, all you need $600. $600 for a down payment. They have financing options for any budget, and they're just the best. Nobody sells more Generac automatic home standby generators than Optimize, and they service the entire 1012 corridor with 4 physical locations from Lake Charles to Slidell. GeneratorPeople.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your number